trade possibility about reversing that trade.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's so funny how quickly things change. I mean, I went from being like, a
Oh yeah, it
little.
looked even better. It looked
It's funny
unreal.
'cause, like at first when you proposed the original trade we made with Josh, I was like a little skeptical, but it was like, you know what? I can see the benefit of this. It's kind of a risk either way,
Yeah.
whichever side of it you go on. So it's like if I was basically like, if you're passionate about it, I'm on board with it. I can see the upside in doing that, and I generally do like to trade up. So we did it, and then as time went on, that trade just looked better and better
Yeah.
and better. It
Yeah.
was like, oh man, we stole that 108, and how great is it that we're up this high? And then the NFL draft has played out the way it has, and now those late firsts and early seconds are looking
Yeah.
more valuable. And now it's like,
I'm like,
oh
oh man,
god,
maybe I want the other
yeah.
side of this
Now,
deal.
now we can still reverse it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of
Well, because we need because we can still get a quarterback. It's not going to be. Well, my thing is like we have Darnold, so we really can get a Vikings McCarthy at 8, hopefully, like on the board. That'd be tempting. Not because I even love McCarthy, but like that, I just think whoever's going to go there is going to be successful. And
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, even like
yeah.
Michigan thing aside, like it's a
Yeah,
great
yeah, that's
system.
true.
I would like just about any top prospect going there.
Yeah, I mean, top 10 draft capital. They got spooked by Sean Payton, I guess, to trade up for him. So they got their guy, but I don't know. Yeah, that would be tempting. If it's Bowers, I don't want to make the decision honestly. Like we thought we would want Bowers. That is probably like I don't know if it's worst case, but it's close to it for
Yeah,
Bowers.
I mean, but there are other intriguing guys you could make a case for there. I mean,
Exactly.
you could make a case for Worthy. You could make a case for McConkey.
Yeah, but then at that point, right? Like I don't want to. If there's cases, I don't want to make that pick, right?
Okay,
So you should be. There's probably guys at the 112 that'll be in the decision for the 1-9 or the 1-8 if it was Bowers at the 1-8, right? So although Bowers has got the profile we want, I'd rather have the extra 204 at that point.
okay.
And move
Although
back.
I don't think we should sleep on Bowers. I mean, like, I don't think they would have drafted him if like Michael Mayer
Yeah.
was going to be the obstacle. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Think of it this way: if Michael Mayer was not on the Raiders, and let's say the Raiders like desperately needed a tight end, and they took Bowers where they took him, I mean, would you not be excited about that, or would you still not like the landing spot?
I don't know. I still don't think I'd really like the landing spot that much. I mean,
Really?
it's like the one spot where it's just, I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, it's a bad perceived landing spot, so maybe, I don't know. I need more time to think about it, but I'm not really too worried about the Mayor part of it. It's just that, like, Mayor will be worked in there. Like they will be, maybe running 2 tight end personnel and stuff, but...
Or another thing I heard is that like they're gonna, I don't know if this will actually happen, or if it's just something that people like to say, but like some speculation I heard was saying that like they would use Bowers as basically like like a slot receiver or just kind of like a general weapon, and then they would use Mayer as more of like the inline tight end kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like how like on the Colts, the Colts have like a zillion tight ends, of course, and I feel like half of their tight ends are like inline players like Mo Alley Cox and like Andrew Ogletree.
Yeah.
And then like the other half are more of like those like glorified slot receivers like Kylan Granson, Will Mallory. And then of course Jelani Woods I think is more of like the inline, but he does catch the ball.
Yeah.
So would it be kind of like that? I mean, would basically Bowers be the receiving tight end you want, and Mayer would kind of be like the Josh Oliver, is to, is on the Vikings to, Bowers being the TJ Hawkinson kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's the I like it would be a safe pick at 1-8 for Bowers because like I don't think he's gonna really lose value from that.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as realistic expectations, I mean I don't know. We never know with these tight ends. That's the thing. It's maybe he could smash.
Tight ends can be slow to develop, but then of course after last year and like Laporta, Kincaid, it's like, oh gosh, like maybe it doesn't take as long anymore.
Yeah.
So it is a tough one, but I mean let's not forget. I mean he's basically considered like the best tight end prospect ever. I mean it's like between him and Kyle Pitts. I know Pitts hasn't worked out amazing so far, but I still have hope for Pitts. I think he's gonna have a good year.
Yeah. It just I mean, that's the same thing with Bowers now. I mean, maybe time. I don't know. It's just not a good. It's just not a good spot at all. Like we would be probably over the moon if he went to the Jets, but I guess they wouldn't have a quarterback after 1 year.
Yeah.
But people, it's just like I would just say the problem is that people are so they need the results quickly. So even if we're willing to wait for a player,
Yeah.
then if you want to take that approach, like you have to almost take the Conrad Miller approach where you gotta hold on to them. You can't
Right.
really dump them off.
And then they're just like this, like kind of like dead asset in a way that they're just like stuck on your roster.
Yeah.
They don't have any liquidity. Like you can't like trade them. You're not gonna
Yeah.
get fair value.
Yeah.
So you're just like, stuck holding them.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like probably most likely it's Bowers. I mean, no, people still like Bowers though. I've seen on Twitter. That's why I want to see the rankings. I've still seen people in people's top five.
Okay.
Yeah, ahead of May
so,
and
I mean,
McCarthy.
So he might not even fall to us.
So he might not.
So are you thinking we just like keep the 108 until we're on the clock, and then like if we don't like our options, then we take the trade with Josh?
Yeah, I mean, we still couldn't. Again, if we couldn't make a trade, I'd still whatever. We can take Bowers. Like I think that's probably the best decision, the safest.
We
But
could always flip him if we didn't want to keep him.
exactly, yeah. So
Like before the season.
exactly, I wouldn't mind taking him in that case, right? That would feel pretty good if we end up getting Bowers. But
Yeah.
when we could have a player that arguably could be in the Bowers conversation plus the 204,
Right.
which right now is looking really good.
Oh yeah, the 204 is looking a lot better than we thought it ever would probably.
Yeah,
So.
and we never know what that 204 will be because I just think it's going to be crazy between probably that 111, 12-ish range through to wherever this tier ends up ending at.
Right.
Like, where are people going to take Ricky Pearsall? I have no idea.
Probably like late first.
Yeah, I think he'll actually end up going second when we get. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, like, I don't know. Are people going to like Jonathan Brooks on the Panthers? Are they going to like Keon
Yeah.
Coleman if he went to the Bills? Like,
Ooh.
I don't know. I mean, it could vary by league and by manager and where everyone's picking. But, hey, real quick question. What's your initial thought for my crazy tight end premium league, 6 PPR? Do you think Bowers is still the 101, or do you think it's Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison?
I honestly have no idea in that league. Like what?
I know it's so tough.
Actually, I saw like Kyle Pitts was like dominating, so probably he is the 101.
Yeah.
And then probably Sanat's the 102. I don't know.
So that's probably at
He's
least
probably-
like a late first, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he'd probably be pretty solid in there.
Yeah. Let me know once we're live streaming, by the way.
Oh, we are.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So hopefully Josh wasn't listening. No.
Yeah.
A.D. Mitchell. Actually, that works out really well for AR. I mean,
What does?
the Mitchell pick.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that means for him. Okay, so the pick is in for the Cowboys. I'm gonna predict Trey Benson.
Oh, okay.
That'll be whoever their number one running back is. On the
Here,
board.
I'm gonna post our live stream just in Degens.
Okay.
That seemed like that was like the only. Or I don't know. Should we post it in Grease Bowl? We got some people from Grease Bowl, didn't we? Okay, I'll post it in those two.
Okay.
And then I'll put it on my Facebook. Do you want to put it on any of your like social media, like just like your personal social media?
I don't know if anyone would watch from my like I don't even use Facebook or anything like that. I haven't like used that for like a very long time. Actually, I'm not even sure if I could be logged in, but
Oh, okay.
basically anyone that would watch is like in Grease Bowl already, so
Fair enough.
or whatever. I would send it to them.
Yeah. I think I got a few people from posting on my Facebook, so I'm going to do that again real quick, and then we can start catching up on everything that's happened here in this second round. All right. So, here we go. Yeah.
Let's see here.
Oh, and make sure you like the stream.
Yeah, I think I got like last time for myself. Here.
From posting on my Facebook, so I'm going to do that again real quick, and then we can start happy winning. All right, just give me 1 minute, and I'll be ready to go here.
4 likes on the last one, baby.
Hey, I saw it was up to like almost. I think it said like 48 views on the yesterday's live stream.
Yeah, I think it said 40 something. Yeah, that's pretty.
Not too shabby. All right, just posted it in Grease Bowl. Now Degens.
So I wonder where Court ends up going here. Okay, let's see. Who do they take Trey Benson? Pick is still in. Man, I'm feeling actually really good about that 206 now, and I might be on the just of the outside in Blood, Sweat, and Beers,
Okay.
but you know, people don't always draft efficiently.
Oh yeah, for
So-
sure. I mean, there's always going to be unexpected value that falls in draft and fantasy.
Unfortunately, you probably pick a bunch in front of me, so
Right.
I gotta hope you're loving your Michael Penix, your Xavier Legettes.
No, I wouldn't hold your breath on the. Excuse me. Wouldn't hold your breath on Leggett, but yeah.
Hey, maybe I'm getting Leggett too. No, I don't know. I mean, honestly, he'll start to be making a case with some of these people that start to go off now potentially, but I don't love it. Yeah, Keon Coleman, like, wow, I don't know where he's gonna go. People hate him, including me. He's
Oh,
not a
yeah.
separator.
Yeah.
He's got insane hands. That's about all good I can say about him. He's one of those guys too that was supposed to be fast, but just isn't, like in 40 time wise.
Okay.
Um,
So like
So-
his playing speed isn't as fast as like the time that he runs, like at the combine.
like his playing speed, people thought he was gonna run like a 4.4,
Oh,
and he ended up running like a 4.64.
oh, I see.
So
But I think that's actually better though, because like that's what I really care about is like a guy who plays fast.
yeah, I don't know if they really thought he was like. I don't know. Maybe it is. I guess you could argue it's more like a Puka thing where like he doesn't
Yes.
have the greatest 40, but he's not a separator like at all. So it reminds me of QJ is what it actually ends up reminding me of the whole, except a QJ that can make contested catches. So maybe that's not like the worst thing in the world because that was QJ's like biggest
Oh,
flaw was that he he just played like he was 5'8". So
yeah.
okay,
Yeah, I was gonna mention that about Puka though, because yeah, I'd heard that you know, his play speed was like faster than its you know, this combine 40 time, and apparently like NFL teams like have that kind of like advanced
Okay.
statistics on players. You know, they can like measure how fast they actually play at. And I wish we could have access to that data because that would be really interesting to know.
yeah,
But I think it is a real thing that some players there is a difference there, and I mean it's the play speed that matters, you know. I mean it doesn't matter how fast they run in a straight line, you know, wearing gym shorts, you know.
Yeah.
I mean I care about what they do on an actual football field because that's when they're going to be scoring fantasy points.
yeah. I mean that's fair. I want to know. I'm trying to remember with Coleman specifically what it was. I'm pulling up some highlights for
Oh,
Coleman
okay.
here to
Yeah.
see. Because
I
some
know
guys,
my-
yeah, you can just see it.
My buddy Critchell, who was in the who was watching us
Yeah.
yesterday, he's a big Keon Coleman fan.
Is it?
Yeah, so he likes Coleman, he likes Pearsall, and he likes that running back. What's the guy's name again? The white running back?
Labe?
No,
Dylan Labe?
I think he's white anyway.
It's probably like a really obvious one that I can't think of here.
yeah. Sometimes there's
The white-
names just escape me. Here, I'll figure it out.
The funny one that.
It was Will Shipley. Is he white?
Oh, Shipley. Yeah. I think he's white. Like, you never know with some of these guys. They look kind of white, but they're like
Yeah.
they're not really.
Yeah.
I think he is. I think he is white.
Or whatever. But
think
yeah,
it is.
he liked Will Shipley as well. So.
Yeah. It's like Ricky Pearsall. I mean, he's definitely white, but is he really white? I have no idea. Like,
Right.
what his actual roots are.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I posted the link everywhere I wanted to post it.
Okay.
And, yeah. All right, I'm gonna get the draft back going back.
So the Cowboys passed on running back, which honestly I think for all I'm rooting for now is again we get good players in bad landing spots for probably the rest of the second round. And then going the third round, we start getting like our top prospects fit into all like the best spots possible, so we can extend the rookie draft to 212. Because they do have a lot of late seconds that I've been targeting for.
Oh yeah, I noticed you were targeting that because that you were predicting that there wouldn't be like a huge difference perhaps between like an early second and a late second. So
Yeah.
at this rate, that could prove to be the case. I don't know. Like we'll see kind of where this tier runs out. But,
yeah, would need probably. Right now, I would say we will need a little bit of inefficient drafting, which always happens.
yeah.
It always happens. It also just depends, because right now this early second is looking way better than I originally expected while making those trades.
Yeah.
And then I started to slowly realize, like it's, maybe that 201, 202 is going to be really good.
Yeah.
Which I don't like. The trades that I made with the early seconds, like I got Breece Hall in two of them with the 201. Funny enough, so like I don't regret any trade like that, like the one with you. But
Yeah.
it is something in mind where hopefully the 212.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for is.
And so with we were talking earlier about Josh and that was in Walter White's lab, right?
Yeah.
He agreed to reverse the trade. So our trade was we sent away the 112 and 204, and we got the 108. So now Josh is saying he's willing to reverse that. I was just going to ask, did Josh approach you about that? Did he like message you on Sleeper?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So I just told him, we'll think about it.
Yeah.
Not sure really want to see some other stuff, which is
Yeah.
true because I mean I won't be mad if we have to pick Bowers there, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just with we can get on the board and the actual value we can reap if we were to pick from. I mean, again, we don't even have to pick from the 112 or whatever. Maybe we'll get a good trade offer, but we get two chances to get a really good trade offer in that scenario, or pick two players that we really like. So
Yeah.
Again, we'll have to see how our board fills out.
I think that's probably the safest move is like keep the 108 till we're on the clock. Because my biggest fear would be that like some awesome player that we never thought would fall to 108 somehow falls there, and it's like, oh my god, I can't believe we traded that away, and we could have gotten like I mean, let me just dream for a second. Let's say like Malik Neighbors falls to the 108, and it's like, oh my god, like
I mean, I don't.
Something like that. You just never know, and that sounds crazy now, but you just never.
You don't know. Like I agree, right? I think it would. I think it could be May too. Like I've seen him going consistently at 7 in people's rankings. Like active rookie for whatever reason, someone's doing a rookie draft right now, or maybe it was like a mock or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could be May, and if it's May, hey, well, I think it's good value. We'll take him.
Oh,
right?
I would love May at the 108.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were talking about it yesterday. May just feels like, and again, I'm not saying he's going to turn out to be as good, but I'm just making a specific comparison here. Like what CJ Stroud was last year, that like he was kind of like the top quarterback prospect that you sort of settled for. You know what I mean? He was like kind of like the second choice. And then it also reminds me of like Justin Herbert a few years ago.
Yeah, yes.
Draft with what was it, Tua that year?
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that on the way home about how people didn't like Herbert. I wasn't playing Dynasty at that point, but I've done my history lessons, and people did not like him. It was just surprising.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. Sometimes it's just like the second choice guy that ends up like being better, and you're like just kind of like better off like not making the choice and just sort of getting stuck with someone, and then it turns out better a lot of times.
No, it really does, because when I was gonna make the pick. The only one I really would have had to make that pick last year was my first Dynasty draft. That was right after the NFL draft. And I was like really skeptical of AR. Not as rushing, but just as actual, and like, is he gonna be a good quarterback? There was so many questions. And I ended up trading out of the pick, getting like Jonathan Taylor and what's like the 103 now for the pick. Yeah. So it worked out. But I would have taken Bryce Young there. Like I would have just done it, because I just wasn't sure. Like, and then AR eventually started creeping into that 102 because people still had Bryce Young, including me, like right after the NFL draft at pick 2. Yeah. So it is just better. I think just letting people pick for you, which is what's so good about pick 8.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, within the same tier. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
If it's within the same tier, let someone else make the choice, get value on top. I think
Yeah.
that's like, that's going to work out more times than not for sure.
Yeah, I mean, in the 2 times I got Stroud, I didn't pick him. He was 105, 106,
Exactly.
last quarterback available.
So yeah, if no one else wants May and he's sitting there at the 108, like that's an easy pick. I would love that.
Yeah, no doubt. And then again, McCarthy. I saw a poll today, McCarthy versus May, and McCarthy was winning by 59%. Which again, I said if those are the landing spots, I think people realistically could have McCarthy ahead of May, which also makes sense. Like I'm not even gonna argue with that.
You know what's funny about the McCarthy thing,
What's
and
that?
I think this says a lot about like human psychology, is that like when McCarthy first started rising up draft boards and people started saying, "Oh, he might go in the first round, he might go in the top 10." Like everyone, it seemed like pushed back on it. It's like no one wanted to hear it. No one was like really like buying it, or even if it did happen, it was like, oh, like he shouldn't go that high or whatever. But then, like after people get used to the idea enough for a while, then they like start to accept it. And then when he goes to a great landing spot like Minnesota, now it's like, oh, top 5 pick or whatever. Like now all of a sudden, like it's like people don't like hearing something different at first. They want to think that like everything is like nice and like solidified in a certain way. And then when you tell them something different, they don't like it at first. But then after a while, they get used to it, and now they finally accept it. So I just think it says a lot about how people think.
Yeah, I mean, well, think about what we're doing like consistently too. We're always like comparing players to like previous years and stuff like that. Right. So people did not like Will Levis last year when he was climbing, right? I didn't mind Will Levis I thought he was going to be a good value at like the 10, maybe like 7, 8 if he went first round. He never went first round, but so I just got a frog in my throat here. But
I think from all the live streaming we did yesterday.
Yeah, no, we're good. Oh, couple picks in by the way here. No fantasy relevant players, just edge, so safety, O-line, but and Bills are on the clock again. Okay. My pick is in. But yeah, I mean, even at first, like I did not want McCarthy for the Vikings, but again, that was price related. All of it was, they're gonna trade up with the Cardinals, and I'm like, how are you gonna make the Cardinals not pick Marvin Harrison? Like that is just gonna cost you an arm and a leg, and they're projecting 3 firsts to move, whatever, or 2 firsts, I guess, to add on top of 11. Right. And it's just like, are you kidding me? That is just, we're not doing that for McCarthy. Are you kidding me?
Right. So yeah, the fact that they didn't have to overpay like that is what made the difference for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, okay, well, we're still getting the, QB5, but I don't think that was like the Vikings QB5 at all. So, like,
you think he was higher on their board?
Well, probably 4. Right.
Okay.
But they were probably really fine with him being QB4. I didn't really like McCarthy, but once I started watching the interviews and stuff like that, he seems like a good guy. He seems like he knows what he's doing. I'm sure as a top 10 pick. And then there was like the things where I think what turned people around. I think was the combine with his throwing the second hardest ball. I mean, I think it was like one of the top balls in NFL history that he really recorded in this draft class. Yeah, because it was Joe Milton threw the hardest. Or something, and McCarthy was right behind Milton. So I think that put to bed like the weak arm, allegations he had.
Yeah.
And there's still some question marks with his deep ball and whatnot. But you know what I was thinking too? Jordan Addison season, baby.
Oh yeah.
Maybe his stock will start to rise again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll take long. I mean, I think once the Vikings start playing games, I don't think it'll be long before Addison's stock starts rising, because especially with Hockenson not going to be there early in the season, I think that's going to be a great opportunity for Addison. I mean, I think he'll probably be the one that benefits from that most, because like Jefferson's always going to get his targets. You know what I mean? It's like how many more targets can Jefferson get? So I think the beneficiary of Hawkinson's early absence will be Addison.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And then, hey, if you want to sell him after that in fantasy, then Could be a good flip window, but
Yeah, or you just keep him. I mean, I think he'll have a really good career.
yeah, again, he's a guy that I feel like you can just keep his entire
Yeah.
career and just be happy with.
Yeah.
Because you're never expecting wide receiver one numbers of him, but maybe you can get wide receiver two numbers every single year. And he's never your wide receiver two. Like he's always like my wide receiver 4 or 5 on all my teams.
Oh, I know. Yeah, yeah.
So, that's
Yeah,
pretty
'cause
good.
I mean, even in like Grease Bowl,
Yeah.
where I've orphan team I took over and completely transformed the team and building it around wide receivers. I mean, Addison's like my wide receiver 4, and like that team isn't even like that stacked. I mean, obviously at receiver, it's I mean that's where I've invested most of my resources. But but yeah, I mean, I love having Addison as my wide receiver 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's when he's perfect on a dynasty team, and that's why most of my teams I still have him. I mean, I did trade him away in one, but and that trade with you for Jefferson.
Exactly. Yeah, you traded him exactly.
I mean, that made sense. So.
But you got Justin Jefferson, so I think you'll do okay.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, actually, funny enough, I have Jefferson in 2 leagues. Mm-hmm. Sorry, actually, I have him in 3 leagues. 2 of them were startups, and then the one I traded for you with. Yeah. And I also have Addison in both those leagues with Jefferson. So,
do you?
Whether that's a good thing or not, I'm not sure, but we'll find out.
I mean, I tend to avoid that, but like there are exceptions to that.
Yeah.
And I think in this case with the Vikings and Hawkinson's early absence, I would have no issue rostering both those Vikings receivers.
Yeah.
I mean, if McCarthy starts out hot, I think you could clean up with those 2 receivers early in the season. I don't think you would mind having 2 Vikings receivers on the same team at all. I think they'd both be highly startable.
Yeah, I mean, it is one. I probably wouldn't want to have 2 receivers if they were both question marks. Maybe if they were both Addisons too. Let's just say George Pickens and Addison were teammates. Then I wouldn't really want that, maybe.
Yeah.
But given that it's Jefferson, and we know Addison can put up the wide receiver 1 overall weeks, it's a good line.
Oh, it's a great situation. I mean, think about it. Without Hawkinson there, I mean, all the targets are going to be funneled to like those 2 receivers. Like that's it. I mean, they're going to have like all the targets that you want, and I feel like the Vikings have always been like that. I remember like in the days when like Adam Thielen was there. I mean, like how many targets and touchdowns did he get? I mean, like he was an awesome fantasy receiver for years there.
Yeah.
And part of the reason was that like they funneled targets. It was always like Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, and then Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
And that's why I've always liked owning Minnesota Vikings in fantasy, is because they just funnel targets.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like, and then even the tight ends. Now it's a little bit different with the Hawkinson because he demands so many targets. But back when they had Rudolph as your tight end, he just caught some touchdowns every once in a while. He wasn't demanding anything.
Exactly. I mean, he had a few random spike weeks, but for the most part, he was just like that touchdown guy.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe best ball, he would have been really nasty. And Rudolph back in the day there, but
I remember him.
I don't know. Okay, your Lions pick is in.
Oh, nice.
We have not had a fantasy relevant player.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see if they go like wide receiver here. That would be very interesting. Oh, what about Roman Wilson? Wouldn't that be an interesting pick?
That would be an interesting pick. I don't know what to think about Roman Wilson. I thought I liked him, but people just don't. No one really likes Roman Wilson. And then I looked at his production. He has no production in college. But then you.
Yeah, but again, like
they didn't throw the ball.
They didn't throw the ball, so it's the same thing with McCarthy. So I'm really not too concerned about production with.
It was just like unreasonably like low when comparing to other colleges because of the scheme.
But also, like, look at Nico Collins when he was at Michigan. I mean, he didn't produce that much, did he? I don't think he did.
I didn't even know he went to Michigan.
Yeah, Nico Collins went to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, I don't think Nico Collins had a great, great college production, but he's turned out okay. I mean, I know, that's been helped by Stroud, getting Stroud into the Texans in his 3rd year, but. In any case, there are definitely situations where I don't hold that against a player, and this would be exactly that.
Yeah. See, I don't know. Yeah, I am starting to think. I'm like, well, maybe if I was to pick in like the late second or something and have like a Roman Wilson and the Lions, I guess
Yeah.
that would make sense too. Michigan and the Lions. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I can see a world where.
Oh, they just took another cornerback. Interesting. Wow, loading up on cornerback here. I guess they're trying to make their weakness a strength. Interesting. All right, so they took a cornerback from Missouri, Enos Rich.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Straw Jr.
Let's see this guy. He looks like he's 6'1" before I even click on his profile.
Uh,
He just looks.
I believe
just
so.
like-
At
like
most,
I don't
every scout and Eric's a scout at heart has their own set of binoculars, but usually as
So Ravens on the clock. Do we get the Malachi Corley pick
right.
that was
Yeah.
on the Jordan Reed mock? I don't know. Yeah, well, this is nice. Okay, well, none of these teams will be taking receivers, so this isn't nice anymore. But it is Ravens, San Fran, Chiefs all up next.
Okay.
But they already took receivers, so
Yeah, except possibly the Ravens, so that'll
Yeah.
be the interesting one to see.
yeah. So I got our mock pulled up here. Wow, no Troy Franklin so far.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah, we gotta catch up on all these picks that were made in the early part of the second round. Before we came on the live stream, we should talk about everything.
yeah, it's just true. We never did get around to any of that. So let's do that. Let's start with Keon
Am I going in
Coleman.
order?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the first fantasy relevant player taken in the second round was Keon Coleman to the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, what are your thoughts about that? Certainly a good landing spot. What are your thoughts about the prospect? And if you're not a fan, how much does going to the Bills raise the stock for you?
I was kind of scared that we get one of these weird. I guess all these receivers past the top three are kind of, and maybe Brian Thomas they all have some red flags on them. Keon Coleman certainly has a ton for when you're scouting for fantasy purposes. He just seems like he's got a lot of similarities to QJ coming out, even though they're not even remotely close to the same player.
Yeah.
Just a lot of the exact same. Yep. You're supposed to be faster than you tested, and maybe that's not as bad as a thing as we think, but maybe it is a good thing that he's fast on the field. I don't know with the tape, right? Like I have no idea if he truly is a fast player out there or not. If people just had higher expectations. After the combine, his stock supposedly dropped. I guess the Bills didn't think so. I don't know. I don't love the pick for fantasy, so I'll probably let other people draft him where he's going to be drafted, I would assume. But I'm also not sure if people are actually going to be. I would kind of put him on that 1-2 turn right now, even with the Bills landing spot. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think with wide receivers, I tend to favor the receivers that are good route runners, get separation, command targets. I also like receivers that are good after the catch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Keon Coleman definitely does not fit that archetype that I typically go for. With that said, I am open-minded, though. I understand that, there are other ways that receivers can win in the NFL and score fantasy points. So, he's not someone that I'm going to rule out just because he doesn't, kind of fit my type that I tend to go for. I mean, I guess he kind of has a strike against them just because, he doesn't fit that mold that I usually go for. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I need to, watch him a little more to kind of get a better feel. I think I just watched, his highlights, yesterday. And, yeah, I mean, he looks solid. I mean, he didn't, necessarily, jump off the screen for me. But, I mean, he looks like a solid receiver. Is that going to translate to the NFL? I feel like when you're kind of that, big-bodied, contested catch receiver, it's always going to be a little more iffy about do you translate to the NFL. Yeah. Whereas, I know that, if you can run routes and get open and command targets, that's usually going to work in the NFL. As long as you're not, super tiny and injury-prone or whatever. Yeah. Although even now that's changing a little bit.
Yeah.
with the Tank Dells of the world and so forth. Although he did get injured, so in any case, yeah. So I
1 moment.
hey.
Hey, all right, we're back. Just want to really quick check if.
Thoughts. The way I look at Keon Coleman is that it just sort of feels like inherently a riskier type of pick.
Yeah.
Contested, big-bodied, contested catch wide receiver.
Yeah.
Rather than like the route running specialist. So, but with that said, I mean it is a great landing spot in Buffalo. He's certainly gonna have a chance to earn some targets, and I mean you gotta like having Josh Allen throwing to you. So I think he's interesting. So he's not a guy I'm gonna be like circling on my draft board and making sure I leave the draft with him or anything like that. But he's a guy where if there are some like negative narratives against him and no one else in the league really wants him, and they've kind of pegged him as this year's bust or whatever. Yeah. He's the guy I would gamble on if he kind of falls in the draft, and he seems like a value. So he's a guy I'm open to at the right price. What that price is exactly, it's hard to say right now. There's so many moving parts here, but I mean, what do you think? I mean, he's got to be a second round guy, right? I mean,
in rookie drafts. In rookie drafts.
Yeah.
I think it'll depend on the league because you just need one owner. You just need one guy.
Yeah, there could be that one owner in a league that's just like, he's a wide receiver that went to the Bills. I'm going to take him, late first or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, I think there's you'll probably see him go 1-9 or something. I don't think that'll be common. I think he'll probably. I don't know though, but then you're like, okay, well, he has no target competition versus Xavier Worthy, who now has a lot. So I don't know. We need to see where he ends up going.
Yeah, I mean, what would you guess his average draft position is, or when all said and done? You think it's like somewhere around like the 112 or something?
Let me look at the board here. Oh God, yeah, I'd say. I mean, I would hope it's not higher than the 112 or 2-1.
Yeah, I would say
112.
I would say he's probably the kind of guy where once you get into the second round.
Yeah.
He's someone I'm probably starting to get more and more interested in with each pick as you go deeper.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I wouldn't want to spend I just wouldn't want to spend the first round pick on him unless there's really some context behind it where you can get your guy and you have a pick right after at 2-2 or 2-3, and you for some reason want that receiver, but.
Yeah, but what if he fell to you? You were just saying that you have a 206 in one of your leagues, right?
Oh, at that point, I'd probably be willing to pick him. So,
yeah, exactly.
At that price, yeah.
So that's the thing. It's just always be open because you could be in a league where everyone just hates Keon Coleman regardless of the landing spot, and he could fall to you somewhere like that. So yeah. I
mean, I hope he doesn't fall to me, so I don't have to make that stuff.
Right.
But
exactly.
I know, but yeah, again, I'm open minded. Even if we had him at the 2-4, if we made that trade, I mean, I'd still be open minded to picking him. It's just I don't want to spend with the people that are going around him in the first, and I assume he would be going there. I guess we never know. These people do hate him.
Yeah.
He's just a guy we'll need to see, but what you were saying about the route runner, here's another guy that we got to slot in here. Gladith McConkey.
Oh, yeah.
So this is exactly what you were just talking about, where he is the route specialist.
Yeah.
He does have, pretty exceptional hands, and he's just a baller. He's just a ball knower. He's a baller. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And he's slotted in as the one there.
Yeah, he definitely fits that profile of wide receiver that I like with the route running skills, and love the landing spot with the Chargers. I mean, how can you not? I don't know. I mean, some people might be afraid of that spot because it seems like the narrative is that Jim Harbaugh going to the Chargers, all they're going to do is run the football or whatever. Yeah. But Jim Harbaugh is also good with quarterbacks. And, I mean, I think he's going to – I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, he really ran the football a lot at Michigan. and obviously that was his most recent gig. So, is he just going to like basically bring that same offensive style to the Chargers? I'm not necessarily expecting that. I mean, although I think JJ McCarthy's a good quarterback. I mean, you can't compare him to like a seasoned, Justin Herbert in the NFL. So
Yeah.
I think Jim Harbaugh is smart enough to utilize the personnel he has. I'm sure Justin Herbert was a big part of the reason why he took the job with the Chargers. I mean, he's smart enough to know that you need a quarterback to win, and he's going to use Herbert. So, with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams gone, I mean, McConkey could get as many targets as he wants in that offense.
Yeah.
You really couldn't ask for a much better situation. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely a fan of taking McConkey in dynasty rookie drafts. The question is, where do you have to take him?
Yeah. I mean, hey, this was probably best case scenario for Ladd McConkey. Like,
Oh,
it
yeah.
really is. I don't know how you can really hate the landing spot. And I really don't care about the volume stuff because, I mean, it's not like they're going to throw the ball 8 times in the NFL. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
They'll probably maybe they'll regress a little bit with their passing as far as volume, but it'll probably be made up with efficiency anyways. So, I mean, it's just not really something I'm too worried about. And, hey, he's got the draft capital here.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, with the way that this that rookie drafts seem to have gotten deeper with what's happening in the NFL draft.
Yeah.
There are so many good options to choose from now that it kind of seems like, is it possible Ladd McConkey could kind of get like lost in the shuffle a little bit, and you maybe like get some value on him in certain leagues where he could fall to like the early second in some leagues. I feel like that's at least possible because just based on there's so many good options. It seems like now that like someone's got to go in the early second,
Yeah.
and so I feel like there could be some value to be had there, and especially since he didn't go till the second round. It's not like the Chargers took a receiver with like their first pick early in the first or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think there could be some nice value on him.
Yeah, and Coleman goes a pick ahead to the Bills, so I'm assuming people really like Ladd McConkey. So now
Yeah.
I really don't know what to think about. We'll have to see where people take him. If you got to just make a pick right now, you're on the clock. And you just need a receiver.
I'd go
who
with
do you take?
McConkey, and I think the market will generally agree, but I think there'll probably be some exceptions.
Yeah. You just never know though with these people. Sometimes they just don't react accordingly, and we'll have to see, I guess, with what the consensus says. And then we go our next guy. We had Jonathan Brooks of the Panthers.
Yeah.
Rip Chuba.
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, Chuba Hubbard was a guy that we kind of liked as sort of like someone for those like zero running back builds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, like there's always a chance of the NFL team taking a running back,
got
especially
Charbonnet.
if it's not like a stud. If you're not named Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, whatever. So.
Even if you are named them, basically, you're still really not safe. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue like no one's really safe. So, yeah, I mean, Chuba Hubbard, although he's a guy I like for like, I would have said that I like for zero running back builds. He's also a guy that like, if I could have gotten off of him before the NFL draft for a reasonable return, just to like get off that risk, I would have. I currently don't own him in any league, so I didn't have to worry about that. But in any case, Jonathan Brooks. Yeah, so landing with the Panthers, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, like, I don't think the Panthers are a terrible landing spot. I mean, I think we share some optimism about that team going in a better direction with like the new coaching staff that they have in there.
Yeah.
I think there's some hope for Bryce Young to take a step forward in his second year. They bring in Deontay Johnson, who we both like. We'll see how exactly like that is, but like regardless, I just think the offense is going to be better this year. And then you add Jonathan Brooks to that, so I feel like the Panthers are trending up. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to be the most exciting offense in the NFL, but I think it's going to be better than it was last year. I think that's a pretty easy thing to say. And so yeah, I mean, I don't know how much we're expecting from Brooks in his first year coming off the ACL injury, but I think as a long-term pick, I mean, he should be good. I mean, he was really productive at Texas. seems like a pretty solid running back prospect. So I just think the thing with him is I'm not really concerned about the landing spot. With the Panthers, I think it's a fine landing spot. I'm not worried about that. I think it's just more about him is that injury, and it's like, what's your philosophy? Would you rather just let someone else draft him and then maybe try to buy him after a year after his stock is down because he didn't have a good rookie season, even though we all should expect that, but like the market doesn't always react in logical ways. So I mean, how would you approach a guy like that?
I would assume that he's not going to be the top 2 running back taken still in the rookie drafts. I would assume if you can get him at RB3 price,
right?
Then I'm probably in.
Yeah.
Will he be? I have no idea. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Trey Benson goes to the Cowboys. He'll be RB1, I think.
Yeah.
The Chargers still have to pick a running back, probably, likely, next round. So we'll get those answers soon. But yeah, I mean the ACL, I don't love it. It kind of reminds me. Not that actually Condre Miller was healthy, but he was hurt in the draft process though, and they still took him in the 3rd round, which was like a pretty good sign that they really liked him.
Right.
And then he did end up getting hurt. I'm trying to think of a better
I'm trying to think like what recent running backs.
I guess Jameson Williams though for receiver.
Yeah, there you go.
But that's completely different though because Brooks, it says he'll be good to go for training camp, where J-Mo missed his entire rookie year and just different position. So if it's
J-Mo played at the end, but he didn't do much.
He had 1 catch against the Vikings for a touchdown.
Yeah. I'm glad it was good for Vikings, but
and we traded the pick to the Lions. So.
Oh, that's right. Awesome. That's right. Yeah. But I know there have been some running backs in the past several years that were coming off an ACL injury. I can't think of any offhand. But I mean, it's never an exciting thing because the problem with running backs is that you're generally drafting them to produce right away. I mean, they're generally at their best in their first few years. So it's kind of depressing to take a guy where it's he's not going to be 100% himself, even if he plays, week 1 and you just don't expect him to be his full self and have his full speed and agility and everything until he's more than a full year removed from it and everything. So
I mean, his
second year.
Yeah, I just maybe in the rookie draft when you're looking at the board, then I could see a reason a spot where I'll take him in the mid-second kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's going to go there, first of all, and then second of all, when I see a player like this, it was kind of like my approach with AR in the rookie drafts.
Yeah.
I just never ended up trying to get the picks for AR, which what I would have thought would have been the 103, 104 pre-draft, and then that changed. And I was just well, if it doesn't really pan out for him the first year, but you could see that there is a little bit of fantasy upside for him, which actually is kind of what happened, but I'll be I'll just buy him at a cheaper price if people get down on him.
Yeah.
And I'll make the call then.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of the case here. Maybe we wait into the season, see if he gets a slow start, and you can say, well, he's still the same player. He's recovering from the ACL, and we get him at a cheaper price. Let's buy him then.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's generally how I like to approach a guy when you have so many question marks like that.
Yeah, I typically do too, but but if he falls at a certain value, I'm certainly open to taking him.
Yeah.
Especially if people just think coming off the ACL, goes to the Panthers, give me someone else, So if he falls, because that's the attitude, and maybe you're in a dynasty hates running backs, and all they've been hearing for the past few months is this running back class sucks and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Is there a world in which Jonathan Brooks falls to the mid to late second in a league, and I'll take that. So I think it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I just got distracted for a second because it looks like the Jets took Malachi Corley.
Wow. Oh baby. Okay, I like that.
Yeah. So let's react to that.
So I gotta actually change rounds here. I didn't even realize round 3 started. Wow. Okay.
Are we in? We're in round 3 now.
Yeah. Okay. So Malachi Corley, first play in the 3rd. I mean I let's hope there's some sort of, who's even the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. I have no idea.
Right, because they got rid of.
Let's just hope he's related to the Jets offensive coordinator somehow. because I mean everything on paper is like Malachi Corley and Rashid Rice are like the exact same player.
Oh, okay.
Just for the skill sets. Actually, Rice was more of a he was actually more of like a vertical threat though than Malachi Corley, who's like essentially. He's just such a weird. I don't know if you know much about Malachi Corley.
Oh wow, you just got an interesting pick here.
Wow.
I think you're gonna like this.
Rep James Goddard.
Oh no.
I don't know. That's okay. We'll get to that. Do you know
we'll get
anything
to
about Malachi Corley's kind of like prospect profile, like how they like to use him? They basically use him as at the line of scrimmage. Like his ADOT was somehow less, I think, than Rashid Rice's in the NFL this season, and he's like the highest. He's literally compared to Debo. Even the guys that do this for like a living are like he just him and Debo are basically the same profile. He doesn't get used as a vertical threat at all. Just get the ball in his hands, and he has like the most insane yards after catch.
Yeah.
The question is, like, Western Kentucky is not. I mean, I don't even know much about college just because I didn't grow up. Like, I'm from Canada, so like I don't know what a lot of these divisions are. Just being naturally, I don't really watch college football.
Okay.
So I think he's playing against like future cashiers probably. In Western Kentucky, I have no idea what the competition like is in that division, but I don't know. They weren't a good group on offense. He was like kind of like the star. So maybe they were just getting their best point of the ball. I kind of like this Corley pick because it adds another guy in the conversation rookie drafts. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about Corley?
Yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts about him. You probably know more about him than I do. He's not a guy that I really have like studied like too deeply. He's kind of gone under the radar a bit for me. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to hear your take on him. And I do like players that are good after the catch. I've seen some of his highlights here that they're showing on ESPN on the draft. So, yeah, he's a guy I'll have to look into a bit more. And yeah, kind of an interesting fit going in with the Ravens. I mean, certainly they could, use another pass catcher. On the other hand, they only throw the ball so much, so there's only so much to go around. I do own Zay Flowers in a couple leagues.
Wait, you say Corley?
Yeah.
He's on the Jets. The mock draft, he went to the Ravens.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, my bad. Okay, he went to the Jets. Oh, well, that's good for Zay Flowers then. Okay, so that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he went to the Jets. Okay. Well, actually, yeah, I mean, not too different of a situation. It's another team where they basically only have one established wide receiver. Instead of Zay Flowers, then it's Garrett Wilson. And they probably will pass a bit more than the Ravens, I would think. So, yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. I mean, I definitely feel like there's room for another fantasy-relevant player on the Jets, especially since they didn't take Brock Bowers, which a lot of mocks had the Jets doing. So basically you got Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and now Malachi Corley. So I think there's potential if Aaron Rodgers comes back and is anything close to what he was before his Achilles injury.
Yeah.
I think there's room there for someone to produce. So I think that's an interesting landing spot. I think that's not too shabby.
Yeah, he feels like this is just when I see the Malachi Corley and I see the Jets, like I'm not saying he's going to be the Rashid Rice or the Jaden Reed or anything in the last year, but like he's going to go in that part of the draft, I think, where it's going to be kind of like that mid to late second probably, just when we get all these landing spots. And, he's not a perfect prospect by any means. Yeah. There's a lot of question marks, but you can also, like, he might actually slot in and get the ball a decent amount. So,
yeah,
he's kind of exciting. And, again, I might get a lot of chances to draft him. So, if I do, probably won't complain.
Yeah.
So, the Patriots... so we could go to Trey Benson, but the Patriots and the Chargers picks are in. Potential for players for them, especially the Chargers. Maybe like a Braylon Allen. Like, that would be... that would be really exciting. This is the Blake Corum pick though. Pick 69.
For the Chargers. Yeah, so that would be very interesting. I mean, I would love that, of course.
I would like it for fantasy to have him pushed up the board, and I probably won't really. I can't say that I would take Blake Corum if he was going in like the early second. Is that where you think he'd probably go? Kind of that 204 in the earliest range.
I would think probably like early to mid second. I mean, again, like there are so many good options to choose from now because of what's happened in the draft here.
If
So
you're looking at like Jalen Polk, A.D. Mitchell, and stuff like that versus Corum, like I think people are taking Corum ahead of him. Like I would assume.
yeah, I mean, if
Um,
he's on the Chargers, I mean that's such an easy narrative.
Yeah.
Like, because like
Yeah.
we were already talking about, all the Chargers are going to do is run the football, right?
Yeah.
So that who else do they have there? I mean, they brought in the Gus Edwards, who
Yeah, Dobbins.
and then Dobbins, but like
There's really no one. But my problem is that like there's no way to win this pick if you choose Corum in the first round or whatever, in like the top 16 picks of your rookie draft. You can't win that value wise. Like it's damn near impossible. The best you'll probably end up doing is you'll have Rashad White 2.0 for like value wise, who is also just like an early second value or late first. Like people won't pay a 1 for Rashad White from what I've seen. So my point is that Corum is coming off kind of like where he had that injury, and then he's 24 point something years old right now. So it's like, okay, he will have the 4 years of the rookie contract, which is, I mean, you can't really expect more than that past that.
Right.
I don't know. He's not really like a pass catcher, but
You're really already 24?
he's 24, yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
So with the value wise, right? Like, I mean, I think like Najee Harris is like 25 right now or something, right? So it's just like, I mean, I'm not gonna compare him to Najee Harris, but they, for as far as running back age,
Yeah.
like, where's his value gonna go? He can't really go up if you're drafting him
fair.
early. Actually, it says he's 23, but he's gonna be 24 for
Okay.
the season.
Okay.
So that's my like bone to pick with
Yeah, that's fair.
him.
Yeah, so I feel like mid second would probably be more
Yeah.
palatable for drafting
Yeah.
Blake Corum in rookie drafts.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you can get him as RB3 or 4, if he goes to the Chargers, then I'm more on board. I just don't want to be paying up. Again, maybe if you're on a team that you want points now, could be a good investment for cheap
Right.
production.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Trey Benson because he actually went to the Cardinals. So, what do you think about that? You and I, we both are big James Conner fans in fantasy, so not
Yeah.
exactly what we want to see here. How bad is it?
I don't know. I mean, we were only expecting 1 year out of Connor anyways.
Yeah.
Potential that he would go to another team anyways still if he's still hanging around. Kind of like the Aaron Jones there for next
okay.
year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, it definitely sucks for Connor.
Yeah.
But, hey, whatever. Trey Benson, it is the third round. I mean, that's the new second round for running backs. But, I mean, I think once we saw it, I'm going to tell myself, we don't need to feel too bad about it. We saw, what was that guy's name? Tyrone Davis Price or something?
Oh, Tyrion Davis Price.
There you go, yeah. He went to the Niners in like the third round.
Yep.
Hey, maybe he's the next whatever Davis Price, but
Yeah, or
no.
Trey Sermon, who
Trey Sermon
took in the third round. So
It
it's tricky that they're going to work out. We're still waiting for Condre Miller. We're hoping there's something there, but honestly, like I watched Trey Benson's highlights and I wasn't like super blown away.
was I.
Yeah.
People love him, but like I did not see. I thought I was gonna like him a lot more than I did.
Yeah, like because what I heard him like watching some other fantasy channels.
Yeah.
I heard people talk about him and he sounded like super exciting.
No,
and then I pulled his highlights. I'm like, is this the same guy that I was hearing about? Because like it seemed like there was a mismatch. So like I don't know what I was missing, but like he just didn't seem like super explosive and exciting to me.
Yeah, like I watched him really early on. It's just like some tape breakdown and the highlights first though.
Okay.
And before I even really knew anything about him, I heard his name floating around early on in the process.
Yeah.
And I was just like I don't really care for what I'm seeing here. Like this is just not. This doesn't look anything special.
Yeah.
People again, he kind of has that like prototypical back build though, which is nice. He just looks like an NFL running back.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's probably like my best. I think he had like an ACL injury, but like at some point in his career, which I
Okay.
think like all these running backs have had like a pretty significant injury.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, he's obviously he's going to be one of the probably what then RB2 right now. I don't know. He could be probably the RB1 or two. What would you put, Benson or Brooks? Probably you'd have to put Brooks though with that draft capital.
I mean, I feel like people would probably favor the guy not coming off the injury, but I could be wrong. And
But
also,
he's got
Cardinals are going to be considered a much better landing spot than the Panthers in terms of like the offense. Kyler Murray healthy, Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride.
but
So
but he has to he has to fight with Connor now though. So
yeah, he does. And I mean, honestly, like I feel like there's a chance that like I mean, is it possible that Benson could just be like the next like Tank Bigsby and just prove that like maybe he's just not as great a player as a lot of people thought he was, and Connor just like owns that backfield for another year?
I'd be biased to say that that's a possibility, but if I was thinking if he was the Chargers and there's no competition, then I'm sure he will be like then I can invest in him. But like at this price that he's probably gonna be going at,
Yeah, I mean,
But-
honestly, I'm not just saying this because I traded you James Conner, and I want you to feel good about your pick, or about the trade or whatever. But like honestly, like I really do like James Conner. I mean,
Yeah.
he just seems to like age like a fine wine. It just seems like he's getting better, and I mean, I would still be interested in Connor in redraft or even on a contending dynasty team if I could get him at a discount now because of this draft pick.
yeah, true.
And,
Man.
and yeah, I don't think I'm going to be that excited about Benson. I didn't really like what I saw from him in terms of him his college play, his highlights
Yeah.
that I pulled up and everything. So
Yeah.
and yeah, I would probably bet on Connor to like be the better player. So I don't think I'm going to be, and on Benson, I think he'd have to really fall pretty far for me to take a guy like him.
Yeah, I just assume people are gonna kind of like player lock him into a higher position than maybe he should go. But again, Connor probably only has 1 year left on his deal, so there is like the avenue where he is awesome next year
Yeah.
or even this year. Who knows? But
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's I don't know if what
Yeah, it's a tough one to figure out, but like I definitely
I might
still-
end up with some Trey Benson actually, just being that might have some picks in the range that if people are kind of thinking like us.
So yeah, I mean, maybe if you kind of like just decide to like lock up the Cardinals running back, like that wouldn't be a bad strategy if you already had Connor. I wouldn't hate that. Hopefully it's doesn't just turn out to be some 50-50 split where like you
Yeah.
don't love either guy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd be trying to do that, but maybe at the right price, like late second. But
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
what
know.
about this? I'm thinking of like maybe a situation where let's say you kind of have like a zero running back build.
Yeah.
And let's say your best running back is James Conner, and maybe like your second best running back is like a Condre Miller type or someone like that, someone who's like a little iffy, but you
Yeah.
think there is some hope. I could see on a team like that. I'm not saying reach for Benson, but let's say you were picking like I don't know, mid to late second, and like Benson falls to you. You didn't have to trade up for anything. I could see taking Benson on a team like that, and it's like worst case scenario. If you're RB2, like if your Condre Miller doesn't like pan out early in the season, maybe you play like both Cardinals running backs if they're like both getting work and like the offense is humming. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's not something I'm like always trying to do, but I'd probably rather bet on one or the other.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
just
think
go buy Zach Moss at that point.
yeah, for sure. You can get him, but yeah, I think for 24, I would rather bet on James Conner than Benson personally. That's just my preference.
Yeah, especially for the price there. I mean that's fair. Also, wow, the Chargers did not take Blake Corum, so
Oh, okay.
I mean that was probably one of the biggest question marks in this draft. They take a linebacker,
They took a linebacker. Okay.
Junior Colson, Michigan.
Oh, okay. Very nice. I wouldn't be surprised if like the Chargers try to get like Corum like the 4th round or something like that. Like, because I think Harbaugh's smart enough where it's like I'm sure he'd love to have Blake Corum, but he's also smart enough to like not reach for him. He wants him at the right price.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone had Corum walked into the Chargers there, so that's interesting that he didn't go. I was thinking if they wanted a running back, I don't know. Did you watch any Braylon Allen? I thought I really like Braylon Allen. I mean, he's been falling for some reason, but he's also like he's gonna play his entire rookie season as a 20-year-old.
Did he get drafted yet or no?
No, he has not. But like,
Yeah.
This could be. I mean, he could be coming up in the next couple picks here with the Dallas pick, for all we know. I don't know. That would be really interesting because I liked Braylon Allen was one of the first running backs that I was watching the tape on, and he also didn't really have like the craziest tape, but you just see a guy that just runs through people, like just avoids tackles. I mean, I actually think the numbers said that he wasn't good at avoiding tackles, which is really weird because on tape I really liked him. He's extremely fast. He's like the closest thing you can draft to Derrick Henry as well. And they didn't really use him for his hands, but he seems to probably have a better catching ability than they used him for. So I could see like fantasy value out of Braylon Allen. But like I'd rather invest in him in a equal landing spot than Blake Corum, personally.
Yeah.
So hopefully Cowboys take him. And
If the Cardinals are making their pick now.
yeah. But who are the other running backs that need to go? I'll take a look here. So Jalen Wright, Marshawn Lloyd are probably the top other two running backs. Let's see where they end up going. Okay, Cards pick is in with a guard.
Yeah. Should we go back to how we were running through the second round picks that we had missed?
Yeah. So Trey Benson, I guess we're just I don't know. It seems a little biased because we're the James Conner lovers.
So honestly,
But-
like I said, like when I watched his tape, I just really didn't like what I saw, and I was kind of just like what I had heard. It was like really built him up to be. I mean, they were making it sound like he was like. They just present him as like really explosive and even like shifty, but I mean, of course they said he had the power as well, but like I just didn't really see like the shiftiness. He just kind of seemed like a slower runner and just more of a power back, and just wasn't really exciting what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, they invest in him though. It doesn't mean that he's like once you get in that third round, it doesn't really mean you're. I guess we had Charbonnet, right? I mean, it's a different situation, but they invested highly in him, and it took him a long time to start seeing, I mean, considerable usage without injury.
Charbonnet, he was a second round pick, I believe.
Exactly, yeah, he was a second rounder. So I guess it isn't too unfair to say that, Trey Benson could have a slow start, especially. I think that's more the thing is like. Is the opportunity there to do anything in fantasy right away without an injury? I mean, we know James Conner goes down all the time, though.
Yeah, so I mean, that would be the thing. I mean, I would expect James Conner to be the starter week 1, and I think it would either take a Conner injury or it would take like Conner just kind of like suddenly falling off the H cliff and like just suddenly he looks like slower or whatever, something like that, which I don't expect to happen this year, but you never know. I mean, he's aged so well. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Conner was like good for another like couple of years or so.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, Conner is at the age where it could happen any time, like unexpectedly. You never know. But he's aged well so far. I would expect that to continue for another year or two. So I think it would take like Conner falling off a cliff or getting injured for Benson to like really become like the workhorse or like the 1A of that backfield. And because I don't really believe in his talent that much, I'm not really worried about it. And even if Conner got hurt for a few games, if he was playing well before the injury, I mean, Benson could come in and maybe just as a volume play, like be okay, like from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah.
But once Conner's back healthy, I would expect him to reclaim his role.
Yeah. I think the big argument for Conner too is that he'll be like a better third down back. Too, right? I don't think Benson's really much like a pass catcher or maybe even a blocker. I think probably the blocking part could also play a huge factor. I mean, I assume James Conner is just a good blocker, but the fact that he's staying around the NFL,
Yeah, he seems like it. Yeah.
and he's a big guy. So I mean, I don't have any evidence behind that, but I just
Right.
assume.
I know what you're saying though.
Yeah,
But
like he's
he's a proven veteran. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a rock solid player.
yeah he's been a 3-down back, so I don't think there really could be many concerns about his blocking. So that could earn him those more snaps on the third down. Even though I don't think the third down snaps are as valuable as we think. I think the evidence suggests, but as long as he's on the field, right, that's what we want.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would take a better running back prospect for me to be worried about Connor.
Yeah.
You
Fair
know, like if the Cardinals had drafted like a Jahmyr Gibbs type or something like that,
Yeah.
like that would be like more cause of concern. But I just don't like Benson that much, so I'm not all that worried, to be honest.
Okay. So we got Adonai Mitchell. We'll catch up on here. So, I mean, he dropped probably close to 30 picks behind where he was projected to go.
That's crazy.
20 to 30, and yeah, he goes to the Colts. I mean, I think he'll probably be a better real life NFL player than a fantasy one, I'll assume.
Yeah.
Just in a pretty easy take there. I don't really have much to say. That draft capital kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder why he slipped so much. I wonder if there was like a specific reason for that, or did he just kind of lose the game of musical chairs?
No, there was some. I mean, and on the numbers, he's like got every red flag possible. He didn't hit any threshold for what you would want for fantasy. And then also, I think there was some concerns about like character that he like. What I don't know. I saw it floating around Twitter that he was not someone you want to really deal with. So I don't know. He's not going to be very high on my rankings.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to see like a ton of upside with that landing spot.
Yeah.
I don't think the Colts are going to suddenly become some like big passing offense with like under Anthony Richardson, unless he unexpectedly takes like some huge leap forward. And I don't know, but I mean, Richardson's still young enough that like typically quarterbacks with his kind of mobility, usually like their NFL teams are going to like let them utilize that while they're still like young and fresh. Although with him getting injured last year, could they be a little more careful with him? But if they want to be more careful with them, would that just mean more handoffs to Jonathan Taylor rather than more dropbacks to throw the ball? So, yeah, tough to see a lot of upside there. Yeah. And,
I'll be happy to drop him late, right? Like in the second round or even kind of maybe in the mid. I don't know. But he'll probably be in that Corley range. And
yeah, late second rounder maybe.
Yeah, so I mean, again, at that price, I'll be fine drafting.
There's a price where I just kind of like gamble on him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy where like the isn't it like the guys that like watch tape tend to like him?
Yeah, he is, which is good because like he transferred. The tape guys really love him. I mean, I liked his tape from like especially just from knowing again we like guys that can separate, that understand the game. I mean, he knows how to run a route, so.
Yeah, I mean, his highlights didn't look bad. He looks like a decent player. So I could see some upside there. I could see could he be one of those guys that's like better in the NFL than he was in college? Like I could see that.
Yeah,
I just wish the landing spot was a little better, but yeah, at the right price, I could roll the dice on him in a league, get a share.
Yeah, he also had Quinn Ewers thrown to him, who I thought was a good quarterback prospect. Again, I don't really watch like college like that, and I guess. Quinn Ewers is not a very good quarterback from what it sounds like. So, I mean, he also did play along NFL talent with first round talent against Xavier Worthy. So that kind of helps his case for as far as why he might not have been dominating out there. But again, he was like a big touchdown guy, which is good. I don't know, maybe like best ball, like underdog best ball. I could see myself like getting a lot of Adonai Mitchell for like if he was falling. I played a lot last year, but this year I don't think I'm going to play too much, just a few drafts. But, again, like Mitchell is probably a bet I want to make in there. I don't know. Again, I'll need the right price in rookie drafts. And then we get Ben Sinnott. I don't really know anything about Ben Sinnott. He just looks like a white tight end in the second round.
Yeah.
I'll have to do some research on him. You know anything about him?
Same here. Yeah, I didn't get that deep.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem like this tight end class was like that amazing that I really had to like dig too deep into it. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's probably a guy where like, yeah, I mean, I'd say with the tight end position and this class after Bowers, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of like study up on the guys more after they get selected. See who are the guys that got the most draft capital, and kind of go from there. So yeah, I really wouldn't have any thoughts to share on him right now. But wait, what team
Definitely
did you know?
the Commanders.
Commanders. Okay, yeah, that's right. We
So
were
so
talking
definitely some opportunity for touches though. Like if we remove Zach Ertz from still in the snaps like down the road, right? I mean, he's kind of maybe he's getting thrown into like a Trey McBride scenario where he's second round draft cap. I don't think he's anywhere as good as Trey McBride, but otherwise I probably would have been talking about him.
eight.
Okay, here we go. We're back. So yeah, anyways, so not to be determined with him. Maybe like early third rookie drafts, you could take a shot on him if there's like not anyone else or something. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah. We'll have to look into them more, but yeah, not a bad landing spot. I mean, obviously Zach Ertz, I mean, he couldn't possibly be playing for too much longer, and he'll inevitably get injured at some point. So, yeah, there could be some opportunity there. So, yeah, we'll have to kind of look into him and figure out where he goes, later on. But yeah, not a bad spot though to land.
Yeah. So we did Corley, we did Benson, nobody else.
Okay, so we're like basically caught up now.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, I forgot about the compensatory picks. So let's see who's got compensatory. So the Jags have pick 33. The Bengals have pick 34. Maybe they get a receiver there, or earlier. The Steelers have pick 35. Rams, Commanders.
Oh wait, we didn't talk about Jalen Polk to the Patriots.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he seems like, I don't know what people will think about Polk. Again, maybe you can get him in the mids. Maybe he's like at like 206 I can get.
Okay.
Or it's like, I don't love it, but it's kind of just like, okay, hey, he gets a rookie quarterback thrown to him, coming out of the same draft class. They invested like really highly in him. He was basically a first round pick, like right behind Ladd, right? So
yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, so that's
early
pretty
second.
Good, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was looking at Polk. People were really like McMillan. I think because he had a really good 2022 season, I believe McMillan had. But, I mean, I don't know. I saw Polk, and I was watching, like, the college football playoffs, and Polk looked amazing. I was actually putting some bets on him to hit his overs, and he hit him on, like, in, like, a first quarter, like, I think both times or something. So, I mean, I definitely like Polk for that reason. But, I don't know. I mean, hey, I'm definitely keeping an open mind with Polk. He's more of a guy where it's, like, I didn't expect him to be this highly drafted.
Right.
Like just basically pushing the first round. And yeah, I mean, I think I'd be happy to just throw the dart on him at any point if he gets to me. So
yeah, it was definitely surprising that he went early second round. I don't think many people were expecting that.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Polk was like the guy that like he kind of emerged when there was like an injury to Jalen McMillan or to Rome Odunze, but like I think it took the injury for him to kind of get his opportunity there, didn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, I think they all those receivers stayed in Washington their entire like collegiate career.
But I think what I was hearing about Polk is that like, would he have even have like had the opportunity to show what he could do if it wasn't for like getting the chance with like an injury in front of him? So
yeah,
I don't know, like, what do you think about something like that? Because like on the one hand, he's playing with two other really good wide receivers that are going to be going to the NFL, and Rome Odunze getting drafted really early in the first round, so potential stud there. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure where Jalen McMillan exactly is going to get drafted, but probably somewhere in like early to mid rounds. So I don't know, like. Is he just kind of like this like hidden gem, but like he showed what he could do when he gets that opportunity, or is he just a guy that's just not as good as the other two receivers? And you know what I mean? Like, is he not capable of like commanding the targets when he's like playing with like other good players? So I'm not sure exactly what to think about him, but I do think the early draft capital is interesting now that he went so high.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it is to the Patriots, which I don't think is necessarily a bad landing spot, but I just can't get that history out of my mind about how like all the receivers bust there. So I don't know.
Well, maybe that pushes him down, right? And I want to play him that if that's the case.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So like, if no one wants to draft the Patriots receiver, he's a guy I could definitely see like getting a good value. I don't know exactly where that would be. Is that kind of in that like, I don't know,
maybe
mid to late second kind of area?
Yeah, like the 208 and kind of like that range.
Yeah.
It'll always be different, but I don't know. I mean,
so I mean, you're getting like a borderline like first round NFL draft receiver at that point. So like that could really be some sneaky value.
I mean, he just got picked beside. I mean, I'd probably take him over. I don't know. Would you? This is where I'm trying to organize my thinking with these players. Because obviously we're taking Lads and Keon Coleman's ahead of him, but do we take Leggett over Polk?
Oh.
I think I don't know. I mean,
probably not is my instinct. I don't know.
Yeah, like initially I'm just thinking I have Polk ahead, but then I'm also I don't know. Carolina really wanted Leggett for whatever reason. I mean, not that I should really change our thinking, but I believe in Canales there. That's just also about the Brooks thing. Maybe with them bringing running back in, when Brooks is healthy, maybe they can get him in that like Rashad White role, where he is just like a workhorse, and really see some good fantasy like usage. So I don't know. We'll have to figure that out.
But let me ask you this: with the Panthers wide receiver core now, who are you expect to be the starters? I mean, obviously, like we expect, Deontay Johnson to be, I would think he'd be the number one.
Oh yeah, they got Thielen. Yeah.
They still got Thielen, who actually had a pretty good season last year. Tailed off a bit at the end, but I mean, still a damn good season, especially considering his age.
Yeah.
I expect him to be somewhat in the mix. And then you got Jonathan Mingo. I mean, is he going to be on the bench? Is like Leggett just going to take his place? Is it going to be like a competition between those two kind of similar receivers, and like only one will kind of get the starting spot and three wide receiver sets? I mean, who are you expecting to be out there in three wide receiver sets for the Panthers?
I would say Mingo is probably going to be pushed out. I mean, we've seen it with all those other receivers. I mean, he actually did get all the opportunity and was just doing cardio out there. So I would expect him to be the odd man out, and then who knows with Adam Thielen, right? Like he's a fossil right now. So like an actual fossil. Like we say that about DeAndre Hopkins. Like DeAndre Hopkins is only like 31. Like Thielen's gonna be like 34. Like, that is.
No, but like. Dude, I mean, do you remember like the first half of last season? I mean, what was he, like a top 5 wide receiver or something? I mean, it was insane.
But there was like no competition at all.
I know, but the fact that he was able to like get open and catch passes at his age, I mean, like, and plus, like, you can say, oh, there was no one else to throw to, but there was no one else to throw to. There was no one else to like command attention. So like they could like, double team Thielen if they wanted to. I mean, like, who else on the Panthers offense was scaring you last year? So like, I think you got to hand it to Thielen. I mean, come on, former Viking here. Like, I mean,
I didn't question Thielen, but I just didn't even think he would be like he was just getting banged up at the end of his career there. I didn't think he would even be playing all the games. Really, is what I thought. So.
And I thought it was crazy when the Panthers signed Thielen to that contract. It's what are you expecting to get from him? And then I had to eat my words. I mean, he had a great season. So.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it wasn't in on Thielen at all for fantasy, especially for like dynasty, because like what?
Oh yeah.
he was going still at a spot where it was like, oh, I think maybe it was before. I think it was before free agency though. When I was doing a lot of my drafts, and
Yeah.
it was like people were still getting him because he was going to be tied to Cousins potentially.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't in at all. But
I actually bought Thielen last year during the season when he was like going off in my 16 team
Oh, yeah.
league. And like in that league, like I at the time I like needed another receiver for like my flex spot,
yeah,
and I was able to get a decent price on Thielen just because his age and everything like that.
Yeah.
So like I think I only had to spend like, and again like picks are kind of devalued a bit in a 16 team league because like it's going to be like with the long rounds like the pick's going to be later than it normally would be. I think I had to spend like I don't know what you'll think of this. I mean, it didn't end up being a great trade because like it wasn't long after I traded for him that he kind of started tailing off.
yeah,
So in retrospect, it was probably a bad trade. But at the time, I felt like it was like his production was just. I mean, he was just so on fire, and it just seemed like, hey, I don't even have to spend a first on him. I think I gave like a second, a third, and I think I had to throw in like Taysom Hill or something like that. So it was a
Yeah.
reasonable price.
I mean, you said did you win the league?
I ended up winning the league.
So you gave like a third and a fourth for him.
Kind of, yeah.
So
You could
like a third
basically
and a
think of it
fifth.
like that, and like Taysom Hill, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people were wanting 2 seconds for him. Like
Yeah.
that was kind of the narrative. And I just don't get that. Just get a
Yeah.
good.
And then
player.
I think I also had to throw like Kenneth Gainwell, but I think I like got a third. So I mean, it really just like a bunch of spare parts I just had to throw to get Thielen. So it seemed like a pretty easy move to make.
Yeah, I mean that's a fine trade.
Yeah.
Making something like that. I just don't want to give up. I mean, like I was watching. I think it was like Dynasty Domain or something. I remember.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, you don't take a second for Thielen. Don't do it. Don't you dare. They're like 2 seconds. You need 2 seconds minimum. And I'm like, who's gonna pay 2 seconds for Thielen? Like in a reasonable league, right? Like
Right.
people I know that they're doing, and it's like the ones that we generally are playing in 12 team. Start like who the hell is paying 2 sec? Like go get a good player for 2 seconds,
Well,
or go get 2 players.
You know what's kind of funny is I feel like when you ask someone's like value on a player, for a lot of people, they have like there's like two different values they have. It's
When
like,
they own them and when they don't, sorry.
well, yeah, well, it's kind of like, well, here's what I would pay for them.
Yeah.
But if I own them, I'm not selling them.
Yeah.
So it's like with Thielen, it's like, oh, I'd give a second for him, but if I own him, I want 2 seconds,
Yeah, I mean that's the
Like,
most.
wait a minute, like, does his value change just because you happen to own him? Like, it's just kind of
It
stupid.
does. I don't know. That's the most true thing ever. I mean,
Yeah.
not only that, but you'll get the prep H's of the world that are like giving you the sales pitch where it's like,
Right.
if he had owned, I think I sent him an offer. We just wanted to see where his head is at. You never know with him.
Yeah.
I sent 108 and like the 203 or something for Kyron to see if we could get a counter.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You're out of your mind. Like the 108's way more valuable than Kyron." I'm like, "Yeah, to you, because you own the 108. But
Right.
if you own Kyron,
Oh, yeah.
I know you'd be saying, oh hey, 105 or whatever. Like, I know. Oh hey, Puka. Like you know, what I mean, he'd be giving me the best sales pitch ever. I'm not really one to give the sales pitches, but,
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, managers. I mean, I get that too though, where it's like if it was Zach Moss, I mean, you need to give me at least a second to move off Zach Moss. But am I willing to pay a second for Zach Moss? Also, probably not. But that's like,
Yeah.
it gets into the game where it's you want to buy him off a guy that is not as high as you, right? And you want to kind of just, I guess, get that player more in your portfolio. So, and it's not like it's not like I'm asking 2 seconds up for Zach Moss.
Right, exactly. I mean, I can understand there being a little bit of a discrepancy between like what you'd buy, what you'd pay to acquire the player and what you'd sell the player for.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a little extreme. It seems kind of ridiculous, but yeah, there are some cases where you're like, I like this player. It really fits my dynasty team well.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not going to sell him unless someone wants to overpay for him. So I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of managers. It sucks because like I will, there are some players that, again, Condre Miller's one that I'm not really gonna come off of right now, just I mean I have him in so many leagues that like there's nothing you could pay me to like. He's just gonna be in like the Trey Benson scenario right now, right? So it's like I like him probably more than Trey Benson. Well, not probably. Like,
Oh
I do
yeah,
like
for
him more than
sure.
Trey
I mean,
Benson,
like
right?
Condre Miller, like when I was like, watching like the tape on everyone like last
Yeah.
year, like he was like my favorite player. Like he just looked so explosive. Like I just loved what I saw from him. So I really hope he gets a chance soon.
Yeah, exactly. So like let's compare Trey Benson and Condre now. They both are in the exact same scenario. For like whatever the running like they're just in the same scenario. We like Condre Miller more. Who's more going to be more valuable? It's going to be Trey Benson. So it just doesn't make sense to move off Condre Miller. He's just kind of like one of those random guys that maybe we like more than most. But I got a Condre Miller offer.
Really?
Today or yesterday. It was Gardner Minshew for
Harder Minshew.
yeah. So I didn't hit accept.
And that's not like terrible, but
Nah, it's not a move I'm gonna make though.
Yeah.
It was in blood, sweat, and beers,
oh,
and it's just again it's so funny because I think Mad Chaos has him there. I had the Jimmy G that survived the draft last year.
mhm,
Nobody would give me anything for him.
mhm.
Like they wouldn't even give me like an early third for him.
Yeah.
And I think I'm gonna move off Condre here for Gardner. It ain't happening. It's Aiden O'Connell season, baby. I think I actually have Aiden O'Connell in. I gotta check. I have him in a bunch of leagues, but yeah. I mean, I could see someone maybe accepting that, being like, "Oh, I need a quarterback," but
Right.
give me Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
No, give me someone. I don't know.
There's only one Condre Miller.
Yeah. Actually, what the hell happened to Aiden O'Connell?
What?
Oh, he's on my practice taxi squad. Okay. Yeah. So hey, I mean, there's life there. I might have. Never know. Maybe AOC beats out Gardner at some point. I mean, I like O'Connell. I don't know if you ever saw any O'Connells like college. Like,
Yeah.
I liked O'Connell coming out. That's why I had him in so many leagues just for free off the wire.
Yeah, he had like that great preseason, and
Yeah.
I don't know, Dynasty League. I ended up trading him. I had to add him to like Deshaun Watson to get Baker Mayfield. But,
Yeah.
But I was happy about that trade.
Yeah, I actually think I traded away like 2 Aiden O'Connells because people just wanted him and that Zach Moss trade and Grease Bowl, and then there was another one I think where just someone wanted him, and I was like, well, okay, I'm not gonna cry about it. So
Yeah, in my 16-team league, there was kind of this wacky manager who ended up leaving the league just recently in like the off season. But he like really wanted like Aiden O'Connell like at the end of last season.
Yeah.
And he like offered me like a couple draft picks for him, and I was like, nah, I think I'll hang on to him. And then like I declined it. And then he sent another offer, and he doubled his offer. And he
Really?
threw like 4 draft picks at me for O'Connell, and like I couldn't like hit accept fast enough,
Yeah.
It was crazy. So yeah, it's just one of those random things. So yeah, I guess I had him in 2 leagues and I sold him in both. But yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, hey, honestly, at this point, if they don't bring anyone in, I'm kind of backing on the O'Connell because I want the cheaper bet of the
Right.
two.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's if I have Gardner Minshew, maybe that is the one where I'm giving the sales pitch. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I want to get rid of him. I want to get a second back for him. But I'm not going to sell him for anything less than that.
Yeah.
Whereas, O'Connell, maybe you can get him for basically free.
It's kind of like the same philosophy where like for any like NFL team that has an ambiguous backfield where you're like, you're not sure if it's like this guy or that guy,
Exactly.
the main running back.
Yeah.
Just give me like the guy that's cheaper, and
Yeah.
I'll bet on that guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the J.J. Zacharyson ambiguous backfield analysis there. So
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. But you know what's funny about that is I'm not even really into like Zach Charbonnet, but he's probably the best example of that right now
Oh.
that I can think of is
Absolutely.
Charbonnet, and I'm not really sure why I'm not like trying to buy him. It's just I don't know. I just think the guys that own Charbonnet probably want more for
Yeah.
him than you would want to pay, I guess.
Yeah, because they probably don't want to like sell him low.
Exactly.
So like, you basically kind of have to like overpay.
Yeah.
And and then like you're kind of paying for like what you hope he is rather
Exactly.
than what he currently is, and then that just doesn't seem like a good bet to make.
You would need him as like almost like a throw-in to a trade.
Yeah, exactly. I like him as a throw-in for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I had to go pay probably maybe like let's just say it's a mid 25 second for him. But I didn't have any running backs at the time. I didn't know I was going to get Brees Hall. I didn't know I was going to get Zach Moss. And I mean, he's like the perfect handcuff. So I'm like, oh wow, there we go. We got our first. Let's interrupt here. Jermaine Burton to the Bengals. That's kind of exciting.
That is interesting.
So he's a guy I've been looking into a little bit, and he's like an insane deep ball guy. Like he had like the craziest success rate on deep balls. Like he seems to be a pretty exciting receiver. I mean, maybe what you would want out of one of these earlier drafted receivers
Yeah.
for like his role, but you're getting him later in the draft, and probably cheaper in rookie drafts there. Maybe T. Higgins goes. So
Yeah, I mean that's where my head goes first. Is like what happens with T. Higgins? Like, are they planning on getting rid of him, or are they just sort of like hedging their bet that in case they lose Higgins, that they have like a nice backup plan in place?
yeah,
So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I mean if Higgins doesn't go anywhere, I mean would Burton become their third receiver? I mean they need someone to play the slot. So like between like Chase, Higgins, and Burton. Do any of those guys like project as can any of those guys like be a full-time slot receiver, or what do you think?
I don't know if Burton would play any. I have no idea. Like I highly doubt he's like a vertical slot guy, but
Yeah, I mean none of those receivers strike me as a slot. So I kind of feel like
they'll line Chase up in the slot. I mean, obviously not all the time, but they will put him in there. He's like the only one I would probably think.
But I mean, what would that look like if the Bengals keep Higgins for one more year? Is Burton just kind of like a stash, like kind of like a Cedric Tillman type? They're just sort of stashing him and hoping.
Don't bring that name up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, probably. I mean, probably actually, but yeah, there's upside. There's more upside than the Cedric Tillman case. I like the Tillman because it was like, okay, Elijah Moore is there, but again, slot guy, so.
Yeah, I like Tillman too. I mean, he was definitely a big disappointment, and I cut him anywhere I had him.
Yeah, exactly. I've had to cut him in a league or two that I owned him. I think I might still have him in one, but there's no life for Tillman anymore. I can move on, and that's at least the good thing about Tillman. Like you just know there's he was out there, he was getting the snaps, he got the opportunity, nothing happened.
It produced even when Flacco was going like crazy. Like, he was still doing nothing.
He was getting, like, one catch a game, running, like, 80% of the routes. So it was like, okay, let's cut him. Let's,
who is the Bengals starting slot receiver in 2024? Is it my boy Charlie Jones? Is this it? Is he finally going to get his chance?
I don't think so still. I don't know.
So who's it going to be?
It could just be, like, really no one.
Is it going to be, like, Trent Irwin, my other boy?
Yeah, it could be, actually. I think it could actually be Trent Irwin. I don't know. He seems like he would operate on the slot. He's white, so.
Yeah, exactly. He's white, so he's got to be in the slot.
I don't know. They probably don't have one. They'll probably just run a few guys in there, right? I would assume. Like,
do you think it'd be kind of like by committee, where like maybe like Burton will play like 40-50% of snaps, maybe Charlie Jones will play like 40% of snaps, Irwin will play 40%, like kind of.
I'll say like 20. I'll say 20 for Jones, or 25 for Jones, 25 for Irwin, or 30 for Irwin, and I'll say around the same for Burton.
Isn't that so gross from a fantasy perspective? That's like the opposite. I mean, I know obviously you still have productive guys with like Higgins and Chase, but because the Bengals don't like utilize their tight end a ton, and it's such a great passing offense, they're one of those teams where I would hope that they would support three receivers, just like when Tyler Boyd was there for many years.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably Burton. We would need to. Maybe he's a guy that could rise during, like, the off season, which is why I probably am interested in him right now. Because
but again, the problem is like if he doesn't really play slot and Higgins and Chase don't, it just kind of seems like he's really just like a Higgins handcuff.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the price we're talking about. I'm talking like basically like third round here.
Third round,
So
I
it's like.
I guess that'd be okay just for the hope that like Higgins gets traded someday.
yeah,
You know,
if he did get traded, I think people would be all over him. So,
yeah, I mean, if he did get traded, yeah, he would definitely
right.
be probably like more of like a late second round pick, maybe.
This is where
Second.
this is where you kind of got to play like real stash fantasy here, where it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we gotta like, we gotta hope for the best. Could be like the Tillman case, but I don't know. I mean, even if Higgins doesn't go, he'll be probably more than likely gone by next year, right? We could
Yeah,
assume.
so it could be a situation like, like we were kind of talking with like, Jonathan Brooks or kind of someone you kind of.
Yeah, the Miller, but you don't really want to do that at receiver is like the problem, right? But maybe, yeah, I don't know. Actually, that's what kind of sucks about if you had to draft him right now. It never works out for receivers. Like, what receiver has ever not been starting?
Because the thing is, like, if I'm sorry, I almost called him Cedric Tillman. I mean, how's that for a Freudian slip? That's what it feels like. I mean, it just feels like a Cedric Tillman. Like, and then I don't mean that in a completely bad way because I like Tillman. Maybe Burton will be like the Tillman that actually works out.
Yeah.
He's like that third round receiver going to an AFC North team who, is kind of seen as a little bit of a sleeper, goes in the third round, and you're not exactly sure what his opportunity could be, but if he gets the opportunity, you kind of think there's some upside there. So it's just kind of like this guy that like you're not entirely sure what to do with and where to draft.
Yeah. Well, thinking about, maybe it's not the best bet to even take him, but I mean, Tillman was going like mid-third last year, so I mean, I'd probably be all right with just hoping for the Higgins out and Burton slotted in. But yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, it looks like a good landing spot. I wouldn't even know if he plays any slot like at all.
Yeah, that's something we'd have to look into. If you're telling me like, oh, he's just as good in the slot, now we're talking here. Like now I can get behind that. So I think that's going to definitely determine a lot. So we'll have to look into that more. Yeah. He doesn't strike me as a slot receiver, but I can't say I'm like an expert on Burton.
I don't think he is, but I'm looking it up right now to see if we can find his.
And then the other thing about Burton, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't he a guy that's like, is he like older, or did he play 5 years or something like that? Isn't there something like kind of like a wart on his resume?
He's like the same age as Jalen Polk and all those guys, 22.
22? Oh,
just not an early declare, so.
Okay.
So.
But I think the thing about Burton is they kind of said like, his upside is maybe kind of limited, but but he's got some skills. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, he might be again one of those guys that doesn't really do anything for fantasy. It's hard to not be like a little bit excited about him though. Just
he's on the Bengals. If you get a chance on the Bengals, I mean, we've even seen Trent Irwin have a good game every now and then. So like, you like that spot. I guess the question is, this is what I would fear, is basically what happened to Cedric Tillman kind of. If he doesn't produce his first year, because he was only taken in the third round, next year in the draft, do the Bengals just pick some receiver in like the first or second round, or replace them when they lose Higgins, and then Burton's just sort of perpetually the Bengals wide receiver 4, or something like that.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's kind of this. I don't know though. Honestly, I'm looking at some stuff here, by the way.
Yeah.
And all about Jermaine Burton, this process. I mean, his deep targets and yards was insane. His RAS score was like out of this world.
Oh, really?
Yeah. 9.09.
That's good.
It sounds like he's got like a massive hand size for whatever that matters, for catching balls. But it actually did say that he played. Oh, wait, let's see.
Oh, dude. Blake Corum to the Rams.
Oh my goodness.
Holy
not my Kyron.
Oh my god.
Well, maybe do I need the? No, I don't know if that's a smart idea. We'll have to see what everything happens. I'm like maybe I'll be forced to take a what's his name? Take a quorum somewhere. I think I have like Kyron in like 3 leagues now. But
I mean, it's so funny because he's been compared to Kyron Williams. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I made the comparison.
Yeah, that's like a strange. Well, I mean, I guess he's. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can see the fit. One of them are a little bit bigger, and one of them are smaller, like plus size. He's like a plus size Kyron Williams. Is he like maybe not height wise, but you know, thickness wise?
I mean, what's your reaction? I mean, like, you think he's going to get a role, or is he just going to be like a, Kyron handcuff, or I mean, what are you expecting here?
I mean, I you never know with McVay. I mean, it's a little concerning because like McVay's taking a 3rd round pick on him.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, that's definitely a concern. But also, I mean, hey, I don't know. Kyron was I hated Kyron because of how good he was and how like I didn't have any of them because I mean,
know.
why would you invest in a running back like him? But I don't know. I mean, I'm probably not going to be off of Kyron at all. His value would probably take a little bit of a hit, but
Yeah.
maybe that's more of a chance to buy in the right league.
I mean, Kyron was so good last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's someone I still want to like own on contending teams. So I don't know. I mean, I'll have to take some time to fully process this. I really wasn't expecting Blake Corum to go there. So
No, not at all. But maybe Corum is. Yeah, maybe he's not a guy that people will like now because people know that Kyron was so damn good.
Yeah,
and
so I mean,
maybe you can kind of cuff him. Right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Corum and Kyron are both buys right now because like their values both take a little bit of a hit with this. So like, I could see buying both of them because if Kyron gets injured, I would love like Blake Corum as like the main running back on that offense. I think he would do awesome.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Rams, they always use just like one back. So yeah, I mean, Corum, I'm probably not gonna, especially if I don't have Kyron, I would not be really interested in drafting him. Oh, here we go, Roman Wilson to the Steelers.
Oh,
just
God.
like in the mock.
So wait a minute. Repeat what you just said.
Okay.
You said that.
Okay, I probably wouldn't want to be investing like decent draft capital. Like I'd still want to take all these players I've been basically going over, Blake Corum. But again, when you get to the right spot, then he'll become like a pretty good handcuff. Like he'll probably be a way better pick than the Marshawn Lloyds and whatnot. Just knowing that if there is an injury to Kyron, which he is a smaller guy, then he might be a smash, right? So
do you want the two Rams on the same team, and do you want like you want them separately? Like, do you want just Corum on a team, just Kyron on a team?
I think it's smarter to bet on like doing just Kyron on a team, just Corum on a team, and then you kind of like hedge it across your leagues, because because I don't know, it depends on what you would. I have no idea what Corum will cost, right?
Yeah.
If he's like a third, then hey, maybe I'll get him anyways.
Then maybe handcuff Kyron if it only costs a third to get Corum. Yeah, I can see that.
But if he's going on a second, like I don't really see the upside, especially if it's not like the very very back. I don't really see the upside too.
I mean, my initial thought about where Corum is going to go with this landing spot and draft capital, I mean, I'm thinking like late second, early third kind of area. Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I'd say that's about accurate, and I wouldn't argue with that at all.
Yeah,
I consider him there.
Yeah, I mean, I could see getting a share or two.
Yeah, like in Grease Bowl, like he seems like a guy that might actually be a good bet because again, he could slot in, and then I can kind of hedge him across my other leagues where, if in blood, sweat, and beers, if I lose Kyron, the season might be cooked. So unless it's Zach Moss season, or actually no, I got Connery Miller too, so that's a little bit of a good.
Yeah, you got some decent running back depth in Blood, Sweat, and Beers. But wait, remind me where your picks are in Blood, Sweat, and Beers. Like, you think you'll be in a position to draft Corum if you wanted him?
No. I don't think so. Unless I traded back 2.6, 3.10. I'll have to see. I mean, maybe I can consider moving back now.
Yeah.
Like at least give it a thought to try and get Corum.
Yeah.
I also just feel like this is a league where someone's just going to take Corum like unnecessarily high for some reason, and potentially just to screw with me for whatever reason like that. I just feel like that's like a possibility. I mean,
I think certain people could see Corum as like a high upside guy, whereas like if Kyron gets injured, then Blake Corum's just gonna be the next Kyron for as long as Kyron's out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's reasonable.
And that could be true.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable to think, but again, you gotta rely on the injury. I don't know. Yeah, I think if we're talking that 2-3 turn, I could get on board with what we've seen for the landing spots so far. And we are getting past like the third round basically right now, right? So it's we're halfway through the third.
Yeah, the NFL draft. But yeah, you know what the other interesting thing I thought of with like Rams running backs? I'm sure you probably heard the stat about how like, what is it, for like 4 straight years or something, the leading rusher on the Rams has been like a different player like each year.
Really?
Yeah. It was like, Todd Gurley, and then like Cam Akers, and then it was Sony Michel, and then it was Blazer, something like that. But the other thing, though, I just thought of is that, Zach Evans last year, that was a guy I kind of liked. He was like a sleeper for me, and he like did nothing. But like also the year before that, Kyron Williams as a rookie did nothing. So it's like,
yeah.
And then I think if you think back to like Cam Akers' rookie season, several years back, I don't think he did a ton his rookie season. I think he started coming on toward the end of the year, if memory serves.
He was injured though. That was a little bit.
Okay.
He I forget what, but in the playoffs he really started to get cooked in when he was when he was
exactly.
healthy.
But my point is, for one reason or another, it seems like Rams rookie running backs kind of get like almost like redshirted a little bit,
Yeah. I mean that's.
And so if that's the case, could Zach Evans be the guy, to buy for like nothing right now? It sounds far-fetched, but like that's basically how we looked at Kyron Williams a year ago. He was a nothing in Dynasty.
Well, yeah, but he was really hurt though. Kind of throughout like almost the entire season.
Okay.
Yeah. He I remember I actually was like in on Kyron in redraft for that season because he was a guy you could stash on IR and then you're like, some pass catching.
In fact, in my redraft league that I've been, like running since, like 99, I believe I drafted Kyron Williams his rookie season. I was so disappointed. Yeah. And then going into his last year, like he was like basically off my draft board, And
exactly. Same.
In fact, I actually drafted Cam Akers in my redraft league. And, he was kind of a sleeper for me. And I guess I just picked the wrong Rams running back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean... That's fair. I don't know. I think the Zach Evans, everything's telling me I don't really care about him. Like he wasn't hurt. He had the. They went out and signed Henderson, who they immediately cut after. Yeah. Instead of giving Evans any and then there was
even like Royce Freeman was like playing ahead of Zach Evans. So
that to me that's I mean if I miss out on Zach Evans, so be it. Right. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make that bet.
I haven't bought him anywhere. I've cut Zach Evans where I had him, but I'm just saying you never know. I mean, there are some cases of a running back doing nothing his rookie season and then kind of coming out of nowhere and being good as second.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. It's a bit of a different scenario. Like, there's all the opportunity in the world for a stretch there.
I'd rather bet on Condre Miller or maybe even Charbonnet. Yeah, I'd sooner bet on those guys.
Yeah. So I'm filling out our draft board here, by the way. Just... nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing sticky, but I'm trying to get some, names in some places. I think I'm gonna have to put now Leggett just temporarily at the 2-7. Unfortunately, actually, would you take a Leggett or would you take Corley? Did we already have this conversation? I think we said.
I don't think specifically between the two guys. I think, or maybe we did. I don't know, but I think I would probably take Corley.
Yeah. I just slotted him in there. Wow, I don't know where Troy Franklin is. Like he.
Oh yeah, he still hasn't gone yet.
Is still yet to go, which is.
I had a feeling
I liked his tape.
I feel like his stock was just plummeting, and I'm not too surprised.
People had him plummeting in like the fantasy rankings. I mean, I saw his tape, but I was like, this looks like a guy you want to own in fantasy. Like he was just awesome with the ball in his hands.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess people. The NFL just thinks otherwise. Maybe. And the problem is, I don't think that's ever a good decision when you see a guy like this fall and you're like, what is it, like the Kayshon Boutte kind of thing? Where it's but he was like such a good prospect, or like he was so high. It's normally not a good bet to make, so he'd probably be out my board.
We should talk about Roman Wilson to the Steelers, though. So,
Yeah.
I know we covered it in that scenario in our mock draft that we did recently. But what are your final thoughts on that? Now that it's a real thing, what do you think about Roman Wilson to the Steelers?
I don't know. I'd love to know where he went in that video.
Oh yeah, we should check on that. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
I would say that was somewhere in the like late second. I want to say something like that.
I can pull it up.
Pull it up. Yeah.
I actually use the same. Like I can't. Yeah, I have to look at the video now if I want to see that. So I can't go back in the actual sleeper to watch it.
By the way, we should pull up. I don't know if we're gonna have the same kind of live chat that we did last night, but we should see if there's anyone in there by any chance. I know we didn't.
I was peeping. Nobody in there.
Going in there. Okay. Maybe I should have. Texted the link to Critchell again. I know it's kind of late now. Maybe I'll just forget about it.
Wow. So our board.
What's that?
Well, I'm looking at our board here. Our board looks wait. Okay, where did Roman Wilson? Okay, Roman Wilson was a 212. Our pre-draft board looks pretty good right now. Like, we did have a pretty good mock, I guess, there for some landing spots hit on the dot.
Right.
Other ones, while they didn't, the players were shuffled around. I mean, oh my god.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just realizing I'm looking at the chat here in Dyna's. I just completely forgot I had James Conner as well in Blood, Sweat, and Beers, even though I think you mentioned that.
Oh yeah.
So 2-1 running backs just got basically worst case scenario there.
I know that does kind of suck. I mean, I certainly don't think it's like a death sentence or anything because I mean those are two awesome football players. So like, I wouldn't panic about it, but it does suck. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Kyron, I don't know. I don't think it's worth even trying to figure out what the heck's gonna happen there. And even with the Connor, it's just you just kind of got to roll in the season. I mean,
Yeah.
and just hope, right? I mean, look, A-Chain just got picked with Mostert there, right? And there was injuries, but
Yeah.
Mostert was still killing
yeah.
it. So
Absolutely.
nothing to be too concerned about right now.
Those are still really good offenses to be on. I mean, the Rams and Cardinals are going to score a lot of points. You want running backs on those teams, so.
Yeah. I mean, I do have some decent guys in the. Hey, Rico Dowdle RB1 so far, baby. So, I mean, let's see. Jerome Ford's still alive too. He's kind of a sneaky guy that I like.
Oh yeah, me too.
Eric Gray. That's my next Kyron.
Yeah.
That's my plant the flag right now.
Yeah.
That's the next Kyron. Yeah, so I mean I got some body. It's running back's not really my concern there. I mean you couldn't say really receiver would be my concern as well. It's just that like I do want some. I would like to have one more receiver.
Yeah.
For flex potential. But
hey, maybe we could make a little trade here on the live stream right now. You'd be down.
Oh, I am. I bet you would like that.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. There is a certain player on your roster that kind of seems like it might be a better fit on my roster. You want to guess who that player is?
No guesses.
No guesses.
He might be in jail.
Oh, well, him too. For sure.
Oh, okay. I don't know who.
Time for that. I've kind of given up on.
I don't even know who you'd be talking about then.
I was thinking when we were talking about Condre Miller earlier. I kind of figured
okay.
That's kind of the guy where it's like it's starting to look more and more like Kamara could be on the Saints for one more year. So could Miller have a role? Yes. But like, is he really just sort of like a high upside handcuff at this point? And if that's the case, is that a guy that would make more sense on my team? And would someone like, Christian Kirk or like whomever, like one of my veterans that I wouldn't mind getting off of, would someone like that make more sense on yours? So I don't know if that would be a 1-for-1 or if one of us would have to, add to either side, but it was just a thought I had.
Yeah, I mean, I think on a certain roster, I could make that trade, but I'm looking at my team. I mean, unless again we have no idea with Dynasty what the hell is going to happen next year. I mean, there's a scenario where Condre Miller is my RB1 next year. I mean, it's a scenario. It also, like, again, a receiver, like, assuming Rashid Rice is fine.
Yeah.
Or whatever, or just like a usable fantasy player. I mean, I might not need a receiver for a very, very, very long time. And I'm like, given, it would be nice to have someone out of this draft class maybe, or just someone that has some upside, on the team there. But I don't know. It would certainly help me get more points. I just don't think it'd be a trade I make right now. That's probably not even a smart decision. But Condre Miller has a chance to increase in value. I mean, Christian Kirk doesn't. So I have to kind of play the value game here with this team.
Yeah.
Especially given that like Kyron Williams and Connor are a little bit in jeopardy now.
Yeah. So because of that, you probably don't mind having a few more.
Yeah.
Backs on your bench with some upside.
I mean, I actually like I didn't realize how good this running back room was. I mean,
yeah.
Basically every running back here has a case, right? I mean, I'm looking at it right now. Roshan even has a case if Swift's out.
Sure.
I mean, I guess Herbert's still there, but we got Zach Moss, Elijah Mitchell. If they don't draft anyone, could be still a handcuff for another year.
Yeah, I mean, you got a pretty deep running back room there.
Yeah.
The question is, do you like having that amount of depth considering the Rams and Cardinals drafting running backs, or do you feel like you have too much value tied up in there where it's kind of risky?
None of these guys are worth anything. That's the best part. Like none of these running backs on my bench are worth anything.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But so I don't really feel like there's really any value tied there. I mean, I try to get rid of like some of these guys, Jerome Ford and stuff. There's no market for them. Like if I could probably offer the 401 for them, and someone somehow will decline that. I mean, not actually, but basically, yeah. Like so. They're kind of just what they are at this point.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of perfect for the team though, because I will need probably some flex spot usage throughout the season.
Yeah.
In case of injuries and bye weeks, and then we never know with my starting running backs right now.
Yeah.
Which isn't the worst thing.
Well, I mean, regardless of forget the idea of trading a running back. You feel like you need like one more receiver? Because you alluded to that.
It would be nice to have a guy out of this draft class, which is kind of like the 206. Could be that. I mean,
okay, so you'd rather get like a rookie with some upside than like adding a Christian Kirk for points?
At this moment, yeah. I mean, it would make sense to get Kirk, but I mean, I still have picks next year. There's not really a reason. And again, I mean, you can call me crazy. In season, I'm still not opposed to if things go badly, like poorly. I mean, I think my team looks better on paper than, like, maybe to other people than it does to me in here. Like, it is. I liked your roster when it was your roster.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there are some question marks here. Mm. I really just need to see the team go out there and perform before I make any drastic changes. But maybe someone wants Hurts in season, and I can like down tier off Hurts and try to like recoup some value. Maybe he just kills it and carries me into the playoffs. So, I don't know, but yeah. Anyways, I'm not too worried about running backs also.
Okay.
Because next draft class,
should
have a bunch, and I have, 3 pretty solid picks for next year. I don't really need receiver, tight end, or quarterback.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just looking at the roster. It might make sense to get rid of Condre Miller, just at the moment. I probably just would rather keep him.
Okay.
And it's just the perfect. Like, how am I gonna take down Dinah in there, right? I mean, I'm gonna need Kamara to go down. I'm gonna need Condre Miller to go dominate.
Yeah, that makes sense.
right? So
Yeah, I think you're in a pretty good spot. I mean, I don't think there's really anything like any moves you need to make. Like you're pretty solid in like every position.
yeah, I mean, yeah. Hopefully the 310 that turns into something. Because I wanted a dart maybe at like I don't know. We'll see. Running back and receiver there.
Yeah.
Receiver would make more sense, but maybe if I get a decent running back, I could try to trade one off. I guess Conray's the only guy you'd be interested in there.
In terms of your running backs.
Yeah. I mean, the other guys.
I kind of like Jerome Ford. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't put like a huge value on him because he's like, I mean, he might be like the Browns like RB3 potentially right now if Foreman goes past him. Like, I don't know. I mean, he's like, I like him. I think he's a good player, and he had a good season last year. So, I've always been a fan of Ford. But yeah, it's kind of hard to know what to value him at. But like, if you were looking to get off of him for a reasonable price, I'd consider buying him.
Yeah, I'd have to see. I sent one trade out for him for some capital, for some draft capital, but it got declined. I thought it was a reasonable trade, but maybe it wasn't.
Do you remember what you were asking for? I mean, you were asking for like a third, or what do you think you were asking
I'll have to
for?
see. I mean, I declined someone offered me Nick Chubb in a league where I have Jerome Ford for the 304 and like a future third, and I didn't even take it. Like, I just wasn't really interested in, like, especially with the running back room I had.
Well, they were offering you Chubb or Ford?
Chubb, like I had Ford,
Oh,
and Ford's like my RB5, and
yeah.
like they were offering me the 304 this year. I'm like, well, I might as well just keep the 304. I mean, Nick Chubb could be awesome for another year or something, but like I'll just take the 2/3 and whatever, call it a day. I mean, maybe on a team where I was desperate, maybe on Bledsoe and Beers, like that would have been a good trade. But if I wanted to get like potential flex play out of him for the year, and lock up that backfield, I don't know. But let me see if I can find what I offered.
Let me see if there's any reaction to
Oh.
our live stream.
Okay, so I was testing out the waters. I mean, this is kind of a crazy trade. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't think I would even send this out again.
Okay.
But, 20. It's because I thought J.K. Dobbins had torn his Achilles twice, but I was like, no, he didn't. He tore his Achilles and his ACL. Mm-hmm. Even better. So I was like, I sent out for J.K., who I was like, okay, maybe they end up being like worth the same thing, and then I get a 308 for free on top.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an insta reject by Holly Dog. So that didn't work out. But I mean,
say the offer again.
It was Ford for Dobbins and the 308. I don't really like it anymore. I mean, there's a world because they haven't drafted a running back yet where that turns into like a trade I'd want to do, but
right.
I don't know. I mean, 308 is not much.
Yeah, I mean 308 is not like that great of a pick, and Dobbins is kind of like whatever. So I could see wanting Ford.
Exactly. I think the thought process was, okay, I get a running back that could be lateral. Mm-hmm. Maybe somehow, some way better. I highly doubt it, but
yeah, I mean it is a leverage deal. So I mean I could see it. I mean, like if you just kind of say like, well, Ford's kind of buried on the Browns depth chart possibly now.
Yeah.
Does Dobbins have just as good a chance to produce as Ford this coming year and then just get like a free third? So I could see the argument. I guess I just don't know where to like place Ford on the Browns. I mean, you got Chubb coming back from the injury, and then you got Deontay Foreman, who we both like in general, but he is getting up there in age, and it's like, okay, was he brought there to be the RB2 or the RB3? I'm not sure. So it's kind of like the Browns have like 3 good running backs, but like one's old and coming off an injury, another's old, and then you have Jerome Ford. You know what I mean? So it's just like I don't really know entirely what to make of that Browns backfield right now. So as a result, I don't really know how to value Ford.
Yeah, I mean Foreman is just Like, I'm not too worried about him. I mean, he'll probably end up going in there and scoring touchdowns somehow, some way. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like inevitably, like whether it's like Chubb is like coming off the injury, like maybe he like I don't know, he's like not healthy the first few weeks of the season, and like is Foreman that like random guy that puts up like 20 carries for like 100 yards and like 2 touchdowns in week 1, and he's like the big waiver wire pickup, like
yeah, I mean, I can see a world where that. I mean, that is if it was a Chubb, right? But for Ford, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be like the Kareem Hunt Ford thing. I don't know. They're not really the same players at all. But
I mean, if Chubb was like not playing the first couple weeks or something like that, I could see like a 2-headed monster of like Foreman and Ford, and like them both being like fairly productive.
Yeah, I mean, if Chubb's not playing, I just don't see a world where Ford isn't useful to fantasy, right? Like, he could be a 12 points per game guy, which has his value.
And he's a pretty explosive player. I like Ford.
Yeah. Actually, a buddy of mine who's a Browns fan, when basically the first season, he was saying like Jerome Ford, keep an eye on him. But you never had the opportunity until the Chubb injury, and then so there was no surprise there to him, and then me actually.
And then when they cut Kareem Hunt before they later brought him back, but that's how he got his opportunity.
Yeah.
And he was one of those. Jerome Ford was one of those rare guys. We were just talking earlier about how there's once in a while you get that running back that does nothing in year 1 and then breaks out in year 2. Jerome Ford's one of those guys, and I took him in a rookie draft. Actually, I owned him in 2. Actually, I owned him in a bunch of. I think I owned him in like every dynasty league I was in last year. I was in 3 leagues.
Yeah.
And at one point I owned him in all 3 leagues, but and in the league with the crazy tight end premium I'm in.
Yeah.
I remember like in that league, like I drafted him in the rookie draft like pretty late, and I ended up like stashing him all the way through his rookie season, even though he was doing nothing. And like normally I'd probably just like cut a guy like that going into the second year, but I just kind of had a feeling that he might be one of those guys that would emerge, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm glad I kept him.
Yeah. Running backs, you can definitely be more patient.
Yeah.
With those kind of guys, just to see if they get the opportunity, because that is what it is a lot. Just waiting for opportunity. We had Marshawn Lloyd go to the Packers. Did you see that?
Oh no, I missed that.
So, yeah, I mean, hey, people like Lloyd. Maybe in like the mid to late third, you can get a good handcuff.
Yeah, so I guess rest in peace, Emmanuel Wilson, huh?
Yeah, it was bound to happen.
Oh man, I love Emmanuel Wilson. I really wish that dude would get a chance sometime, but But yeah, I mean, with them bringing back AJ Dillon, Emmanuel Wilson was already kind of looking as like the RB3, so now he'll probably be pushed down further. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, do you think? I
think Lloyd will beat out Dillon. I mean, just he's
probably not, right?
Wait, what?
Although, I mean, why did the Packers even bring Dillon back? I mean, they have some sort of like irrational love of AJ Dillon that no one can understand.
I don't know. They're just like looking at his legs. I have no idea. I don't know. Dillon was not good, so I will make a bet that Lloyd can beat out Dillon, especially if like Jacobs were to go down, which he has said he's had his injury issues.
So I mean, are you buying Lloyd as a prospect? I think the criticism of him was that like maybe he didn't have like the best vision, but he is kind of explosive. Am I remembering correctly?
I really don't know much actually about Lloyd, but I just know people loved him, and I just sit in the middle. I wanted to see where he went first too before I even really cared about him, because he was kind of just all over the place for rankings.
But yeah, I mean, he could be an interesting guy as like a potential Josh Jacobs handcuff on a good Packers offense. So it could be someone like to maybe look at in the third round of rookie drafts.
Yeah, so the Ravens pick is in here. I'm honestly gonna predict the Braylon Allen selection here. I would love it if he went here. Actually, I wonder if Audric Estime will come here as well. Maybe not this pick, but I would think I'd like both those guys if they went to the Ravens.
Yeah.
Especially again, like you might be able to get a decent price on them being behind Henry.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, we also missed Jalen McMillan to the Buccaneers. That just happened.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, I mean, I don't know what Chris Godwin's contract situation is. Isn't McMillan like can't he be a slot guy? Is he not a slot guy?
Yeah, he's a slot guy. He's been getting like compared to Jackson Smith and Jigba
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
at kind of a cheaper price.
yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, I kind of like McMillan. I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, like, obviously Mike Evans is up there in age. Chris Godwin doesn't seem to be the receiver he used to be.
Yeah,
Seems like there could be some opportunity there. So McMillan in the slot there, I kind of like that.
yeah,
I could definitely see grabbing McMillan on my 2 dynasty teams where I have Baker Mayfield getting that stack. Kind of like that.
yeah. I mean, I think with the price you can get him at. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, probably get him in the 3rd round, don't you think?
yeah.
Yeah,
No
I like
doubt.
that.
So yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to take some shots on him. You know, rip Trey Palmer. He had a good run.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, that's why we throw Trey Palmer in the trades. But
Oh yeah, like throw
Yeah.
you throw him in with Treylon Burks and Jamison Williams, and just get anyone that'll get you fantasy points like the
Yeah.
Deontay Johnsons and Christian Kirks of the world.
yeah, I threw him in that JSN trade, which I still, you know, hey, JSN is just the greatest player out there next year. I can live with it, but I wanted that midnight, like greasy midnight first. Give me that
Yeah.
first. You know, take my Trey Palmer, take my Keaton Mitchell.
Yeah.
And let's ride. Give me 106 or something. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is an interesting league. It's funny because that Blood, Sweat, and Beers. I know you're taking over multiple orphans, but like this is my only orphan league,
Oh really? Okay.
and you know thanks to our trading, you know, it looks so much better. In 1 year, I mean, the side by side. I think I showed you what my team looked like last year. Like it was just
Oh
it
yeah.
was
I think
gross.
Yeah. I mean, didn't you say when you took over the team, like the only player you had was like Jahan Dotson or something like that?
No. So I mean, I can send you the picture
Okay.
if I can find it. It's gonna be buried, but no. So I went into the season with my only player was Jahan Dotson. He was the
Oh.
only one I was willing to roster because
Oh,
I
okay.
like Jahan Dotson a lot.
So like everyone else that started on the team when
I
you
traded.
inherited Orphan, you had traded away.
I traded everyone away.
Yeah.
Like literally, like I slowly started moving guys around. Like, and I did some like weird. Okay, I traded for Pollard at like a decent price because no one would give me anything for J.K. Dobbins. No one would give me anything for Hopkins. So I sent them over to Holly Dog for Pollard. And Pollard was like 105 value on KTC.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I can get anything near that, right? So what I did was I down tiered from Pollard to Madison and a first.
Oh,
That first was the 107 that I used to get JSN.
Yeah.
So I basically traded Pollard for JSN and Madison. Madison I also turned into Condre Miller and something else.
Oh wow.
So then I turned like Pollard into like JSN, Condre Miller, which you know is again now like a first, that threat level first. So it's just the trades like they keep rolling. You know the tree expands, but
Exactly. Yeah, I love doing that. Yeah, you get that cascading effect.
yeah.
Keep building that value.
Yeah, I made two trades that were, you know, really helped me out. One being, you know, hey, Prep H. I remember I was at the gym. I remember I was hitting some bench, and I just kept seeing Prep H setting me offers like like it literally just would not leave me alone, right? And I'm like countering, or
Yeah.
I was probably just declining at first, and then I was
Yeah.
just like countering, and then you could tell we were pretty close. And I was kind of in on Watson last year, just with him being like a low end QB1 value, but he was going really high in startups, like 1-2 turn.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know what to think about him. My gut was saying to sell him, but like the logic was telling me, you know, that he seems like a reasonably priced, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah.
I ended up selling him for the 107. No, 107. Actually, I made a mistake in that thing though, I only got like the 110 back, and he had multiple firsts, or the 109 or something. I don't know. I should have got something more back for him.
Okay.
I used that pick to, I think it was 109. I used that pick to get the 102 and the 103. So that worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
I got Kenny Pickett, who I turned into the Josh McLeod, or McLeod first,
Yeah.
and which is now Devontae Smith. And I got Rashee Rice with the 207 that I got off of Prep H.
Oh.
So
yeah.
it was like basically Devontae Smith, a piece of that 102 and 103 or whatever, and Rashee Rice. So that was a pretty good trade.
Oh yeah.
And then, yeah, that 102, 103 trade was a huge one. And then everything that we did in the offseason,
Right.
which, hey, it's looking like you're scamming me here. No, I'm just kidding. No, but 212 for Connor right now, I think that's like pretty reasonable even with Trey Benson. Like, I'd be willing to pay that still.
For Connor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that was a fair price. I mean, yeah, obviously, like, there's always some risk of a team taking NFL team taking a running back. So that was kind of built into the price. Like, if the Cardinals didn't draft the running back, then, like, yeah, you definitely got the better part of that deal. And depending on which, if the Cardinals did draft a running back, depending on who it was and where, then, there was a scenario which maybe I slightly won the deal. So as it is, I mean, I feel like it was basically a fair trade. I mean, you kind of argued either way.
Yeah.
But I think that was still probably a good trade for both teams.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we got to see what that was 212 this year, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, see what player that ends up being.
Yeah.
What do I do with it? So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I could see me like making most of my picks. I think we already discussed that, but like because it's the first year of the rebuild, and then like next year I'll be more looking to like tier up.
It's a good draft class too, right? So it's like this is the one that you want to pick.
I mean, I'm definitely open to moving the picks if I get good offers. Like if I get those Godfather offers on the clock, inspired by Rookie Fever, then I'm open for business for sure. But I could definitely see myself making a lot of those 15 picks, just having some fun, seeing what lottery tickets I hit on.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. So, yeah, this 206 will be interesting there now because I'll have to see how you pick.
Yeah.
Because you probably have a bunch of picks ahead of me, and then now that with the Kyren thing, again, not. I mean, we don't know. There's like the side where they have a different leading rusher every year, but then like Kyren was, so good that he went on IR and he was, I think he led the league or he was second in the league in rushing and just like far ahead. I think CMC led, but
it's unbelievable. And in terms of like fantasy points per game, I mean, he was like, I think he was second only to CMC. I mean, he was ridiculously good.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
I mean, then they only used one back most of the time, so.
Yeah, so like that's the thing. Like I could see a scenario where like Blake Corum is just like this like high upside handcuff, and he's only getting like 5 touches a game, and Kyron's still the dude. Yeah. I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see if they use Corum at the goal line at all, because that's probably what people are gonna be doing when evaluating these players for pricing.
Yeah, although, it seemed like Kyren was good at the goal line. He scored a lot of touchdowns, and, it seemed like he could do it all. So, like...
Yeah. Well, even week 1 with Cam Akers there, Cam Akers had, like, 20 touches, but for some reason Kyren and Williams was in at the goal line for whatever reason, and punched 2 in week 1, I remember, so...
Yeah, so I don't know. Part of me thinks that, like, just with how often running backs get injured, maybe the Rams just want, like... another Kyren Williams for when the first Kyren Williams gets injured, Yeah. And they were willing to spend a 3rd-round pick on it, which isn't all that absurd,
Yeah. They spread out their contracts a little bit now. So, Kyren could have his 2 years, leave, and Corum can go in and be a handcuff in that time, and then also have 2 more years, and they can draft another guy when it's Corum's time, so...
Yeah, and then they always like have 2 good running backs that they feel good about, kind of thing.
Yeah, so they don't have Ronnie Rivers.
Rest in peace, Ronnie Rivers. I definitely have him on a few teams. So.
Yeah.
But this is also kind of what I like about the NFL draft because, like, then like when these picks happen, it gives me permission to like drop some of these guys that I've been like clinging to. It's just like, okay, I can finally drop them. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a good feeling because like it makes some of those decisions easier, and I expected that to happen.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, there are players that I definitely don't want to drop, but a lot of the guys, like, I will just cut ties with them. Like Noah Brown and stuff right now, I could care less. I could just cut him. Even though, again, he could be a good 3.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he's interesting as like a handcuff because like if any of those top 3 receivers gets injured, he goes in there and he could have like a random week with like 100 yards and a touchdown easily.
Yeah, it'll be week 14 and 15, so like always. But yeah, Tyler Scott, like I just go ahead and cut him now.
Yeah, actually that'd be an interesting thing to discuss now. Like, who are the players that you're like easily cutting right now based on what's happening in the NFL draft?
Yeah.
I already cut Nick Mullins last night after they took J.J. McCarthy. I dropped Bailey Zappi after the Patriots took Drake May.
Yeah.
And now with what's happened on day 2 here, I think I can cut Ronnie Rivers, who I have on a few teams.
Yeah.
Who else can I? Oh, I can probably cut Amari Demercado now. I have him stashed on a team or 2.
Okay. Yeah. Forgot about him.
I could probably drop Michael Carter. And again, I'm not saying all these guys are like must drops. I mean, sometimes you still want to have a few RB3s, just because they can still, get a chance with injuries happening. But if you need a spot, like, you can drop Michael Carter or Amari Demercado, Ronnie Rivers. So they're not like must drops, but you can safely drop them.
Demercado is 25 years old. I just realized.
He had a couple of weeks last year. He had a week where he had like. And he had like double-digit catches in a game or something. He had like some crazy game where he had like 8 or 10 catches.
He had 7 catches in week 16.
Yeah, and he had a game where he had like 20 carries, and
Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to go ahead and drop him in? Like, we're gonna need. Well, we have so many quarterbacks, but like, I guess we do have James Conner, so we might as well just keep him. But
I mean, although actually there might be.
We drop Rivers though for sure.
I don't know if we want to discuss on the live stream. I'm sure there's like no one listening, so we could probably doesn't matter.
I don't think it really matters.
Let me check. I think I had. I think I wrote down like a couple. I think there were a couple other handcuff quarterbacks that I thought might be worth picking up in Walter White's lab. I was just like waiting for something to happen where, where we could drop someone like the NFL draft. So let me take a look.
Yeah, Rivers, I just dropped. There's no need to roster him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Demercado, like, he doesn't really make sense, but we could also just hang on to him for now until we know we need to cut him.
Yeah, but we could conditionally drop him for like a player.
Yeah. What the heck's going on with our lineup here? We must be put a bunch of guys on the bench or something.
On Walter White's lab?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Don't you remember that's the league where we have our strategy in that league.
I thought we had a full bench though, or a full lineup. Like, is this my app bugging, or is it like we just have a bunch of people missing out of our lineup right now?
No, we set it that way on purpose. I mean, do you want me to?
No. I thought last time I looked, I thought we just had it set a little questionably, with the, AJ Dillon RB1 and.
Yeah, we did that on purpose.
Here, let me check my app here.
Yeah, don't you remember why we set?
No, I do. It's just not. It's not at all.
Oh, okay,
yeah, it's bugged. Like, it's just like what I'm looking at is not our lineup right now. Like, it's just like it is actually bugged. Like, I'm just like there's literally no one in our lineup. Like, it's just Jalen Hurts and like.
Oh, the rest is empty.
And like half our lineup's empty.
Oh, that's bizarre.
So that's why I'm like, huh? Like.
Yeah.
Everyone's on our bench, but.
That's weird. I didn't do that.
No. It's just the desktop here. But.
Oh, I know. Cooper Rush was one guy. You want to pick up Cooper Rush?
Yeah, I'm down to pick up some Rush here. Let me see. I always sort by 2023 stats.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
Yeah, to see,
Oh, and then Davis Mills. Want to grab Davis Mills?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm down to get Mills for sure. I'd take him over.
Okay, so yeah, let's put in a claim for Mills and Cooper Rush.
Yeah. Is there anyone else?
And then you can do a claim for Rush, like conditionally dropping Demercado, so that way, like if we get Mills, then we can also get Rush.
Yeah. Let's do that. Yeah, Foreman is actually a pretty good guy to have on this
Yeah,
team. I want to
like
hang on to him.
Foreman's definitely a keep for sure.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely. Maybe I'll try to get him in like a throw-in for.
Yeah.
Wonder
Oh, yeah.
who has him in blood sweat.
Oh, I traded him to
Oh, that's right.
some team for
For Bigsby.
Bigsby, and then I traded Bigsby for Zach Moss, which was an awesome
Oh,
trade.
okay. There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe you got Bigsby for him, even though he was disappointing and whatever. But I mean, still whatever.
At the time, it was a good value deal, and then when I was
Still
able
was
to
able.
get Bigsby for Moss, that was amazing.
Yeah. So,
Mad Chaos is still mad about that one.
Yeah.
He says that I mossed him.
That
It was a pretty funny play on words there.
is, yeah.
Yeah, definitely mossed him on that trade.
Yeah.
Literally.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. He's out here. He's defending Kyron for in the chat. Looks like, but
Who is?
that the chaos. He's saying
Oh,
Kyron over Corum, which I mean,
that's kind of obvious, right?
yeah. I mean, we weren't overly high. It's just kind of a weird. Like, yeah, they are pretty similar, but
Yeah.
Corum is such an old prospect.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not like he's like a false. He's like he's actually younger than me. but
Oh, well, it's weird. Hey, how do you
Yeah.
think I feel? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm like. I'm like, man, I'm out here playing touch football, and I feel my best at 24 years old here. Moss and a bunch of Dan Fortunes. Or no, Moss and a bunch of Mad Chaoses out there. So on the field, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird for me because, like, I'm like calling a player old, and he's like, 12 years younger than me.
Yeah, he's like 28 or something.
He's like
James
20. Oh,
Conner.
yeah, he's old.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that's what's so funny about like football. Like hockey, I basically stopped following hockey in like 2014 or 15 after like being like diehard, knowing everything about every player.
Yeah.
And then I'll go and I'll just like watch a game or something now, or like hear something, and it's just like it's some guy that's like 30. He's like he would be like the equivalent of like Adam Thielen in age, right?
Right.
Except for in his career, he's like in his prime, and like Adam Thielen is just
Yeah.
like actually riding a dinosaur
Right.
to work every day there, just about to turn into absolute dust. And then like there's like Sidney Crosby or something. I wonder how old is Crosby here? I mean, Crosby's not a great example because he's been around for like since like 2008.
Oh yeah, it seems like he's been around for a while.
Yeah, I mean he's 36 himself, so it's like.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I didn't even know if he was still playing. Yeah. It
Yeah.
Seems like
Here's a guy. Here's a guy who's been forever. Mark Scheifele for the Jets. He is 31 years old, and he has been around since like 2011.
Okay.
So think about like a 2011 prospect. That would be what, Julio Jones, and AJ
Yeah.
Green. So
Yeah. Wow.
Scheifele's like in his prime and has been, and whatever. Like NFL, you're cooked. Your season, your career's over, unless you are maybe a quarterback. So we're at our last picks. Nobody's went off the board. Interesting. Rams and Commanders left. Really nothing interesting that can happen there, I don't think.
Okay, and then the day's over, the third round's over.
Yeah, which is interesting. Like, wow, we need some more players to come off the board here still.
Yeah. Did we talk about every player that we wanted to? Wait, did we get interrupted on Roman Wilson, or did we finish that?
We probably got interrupted.
Yeah. Any thoughts about Roman Wilson on the Steelers? I mean, is that like a death sentence going there with the situation with Arthur Smith and everything, and just how it doesn't seem like Arthur Smith. I mean, at least based on last year with Atlanta, it just seems like they didn't really want to. I don't know. I mean, there wasn't a fantasy relevant wide receiver two there, but like, was that just because they really didn't have the talent, or
They
was
didn't have a quarterback either, but
I mean, traditionally the Steelers is like a great landing spot for receiver because like it seems like they're so good at drafting them, they always hit.
Always in the second round though. Now he is a third round pick, so I don't know.
Roman
Maybe
Wilson.
that'll change it up. But
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of like him as a player, although some of the comparisons that I've heard made to him, like, don't make me super excited because they're saying he's like a vertical slot player, which
okay, but
the
that's like
same,
Christian work.
which I've been hearing put some like gives them comparisons to like Josh Downs and like Elijah Moore, and I think there was like one other one was kind of like, oh gosh, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that's where I'd throw him in a bucket with those guys, but obviously I'd take him over more, but I might even take him
Moore was
over.
a roster clogger for sure.
Yeah.
And I love Elijah
I'd
Moore.
actually probably take him over Downs too now because, like we got to see your Downs, he was solid, but they just added a receiver. There's only so many to go around. Give me a guy that we haven't seen yet, for a different.
Yeah, I mean, I think Downs is like a good NFL wide receiver, but I just don't think he's like a guy you really want to have in fantasy.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I was kind of leaning that way even before they picked, drafted a receiver, and I mean, I was kind of anticipating that they would.
Yeah.
And now that it's happened, it's just kind of like it's hard to see a path for Downs right now, at least for 24.
Yeah, I almost sent you the 212 for Downs, which I think at that price I was like, okay, well, I mean, I still wouldn't love that at all, but I'm like, yeah, if they don't, I didn't really expect them to draft anyone at that time, anyways, though.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, when I was debating between like whether to take your offer to send away Downs or prep H's, when it kind of came down to it, I kind of thought like, you know what, I might be doing Blake a favor here, sending him to prep H, and I did like prep H's offer slightly more. So
I'm glad you did. Because
I think that worked out okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd still much rather have James Conner over Downs,
Yeah, I
but
think that worked out perfectly.
people like Downs though. Like that's why I was kind of willing just to take him on. Was that like in startups? I don't know how he goes like late 8th, 9th. Yeah, blows my mind how people are making that pick. But
and that's weird because like I feel like on the open trade market.
Damn Zoom.
I know, so annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Downs doesn't have a ton of like demand on like the trade market or a ton of value.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's not easy to move, and it's weird because like he really did have like a good rookie season, but just with the situation, it just doesn't seem like there's a ton of upside in the short term. So
yeah,
I think it worked out for the best.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get him. But yeah, I guess that's a pretty good thing to look at though. Is like just because you're getting a good value on a player doesn't mean you need to like go take him. Yeah. I mean, yeah, as again the 212 like for drafting a guy there, it's like okay, Downs or like McMillan or something, right? Maybe right. So maybe it's just like a lateral move, but I'd also just want the guy that we haven't seen anything from.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'll just like take the unknown and hope he lands in a better spot with a higher ceiling,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah, just kind of a just re-roll as as we like to say.
Yeah.
But Roman Wilson, I'm sure there's some scenario which I'd take him because I do kind of like him as a player, and the Steelers always seem to hit on receivers, so it's kind of like, oh, here's the next guy. So I wouldn't feel great about it, but like there's certainly a point where I was like, okay, I'll roll the dice and like take a share of him. So, I mean, you could probably get him in the third round of rookie drafts, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I'd probably go around the 301 maybe.
Yeah, or early third or so, something like that. Yeah. So I'd consider getting a share of him there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. It's we need to see where the other guys go because that kind of sucks. There wasn't any more receivers taken there in the third. Yeah. I thought Javon Baker might go.
You just never know. I mean, like, some of these players are going to end up being better than we expected them to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh gosh, like, you know, all of a sudden, like, Roman Wilson's the next big thing, and oh man, I didn't think he was going to be that good on the Steelers. So you just never know.
Yeah, which is like why I kind of like the trading for like the 212s and stuff there, by the way, because
Right.
while it's, I mean, yeah, again, I did kind of expect to get like the Roman Wilsons to go there,
Yeah.
and I guess that's not the worst landing spot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I just kind of wanted people to pick for me, right? Like, I'm not gonna be
Right.
efficiently picking between the Corleys and the Roman Wilsons and
Right,
the
right.
Getz, right? Like, just give me whoever
Left.
the hell is left. Yeah, I mean, hey, I'll take the cheapest one. So,
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, in theory, there should be room for another pass catcher on the Steelers with, you know, them having traded Deontay Johnson. So,
Yeah.
you know, there could be opportunity there. I guess just like the big potential stumbling block is just that Arthur Smith offense. So it's not super
Yeah.
exciting, but
well, they got a quarterback at least, like a semblance of one with Russell Wilson, because, I mean, Ritter was. I actually it's funny. I traded 2 for like fourths basically for Ritter, but like Ritter for fantasy, it wasn't even bad in Superflex. Like that was my only hope, is maybe he somehow hangs in there as a starter and someone wants him for like flip, because like he was like dropping some like QB1 weeks, like just not even, I don't even know, I guess throwing the ball a shit ton a couple weeks and running a little bit. But yeah, anyways, that side note, Russell Wilson can sling the ball out still and get it into some hands. It'll be better than Ritter. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'd be all right betting a little bit on.
Again, like I kind of like Roman Wilson as a player, so I'll probably look to try to like get one share of him at least in one of my dynasty leagues.
Yeah.
One out of the 7 leagues I'm in. Try to get at least a share of him, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe blood, sweat, and beers. Maybe he's, I mean,
Oh.
I have 15 picks. You know what I mean? Like, so like, you know, there's a good chance I'm like on the board, and he seems like the best guy. So maybe something like that.
Yeah, that's fair. A lot of receivers left. I'm interested to see where they end up. And then, yeah, even some running backs that need to, like, Braylon Allen and Jalen Wright, I can't believe. I mean, I can't believe that they didn't go off, but, like,
Right.
I don't know. I thought they might find themselves a home with, like, the Ravens or something there, so.
And then Troy Franklin still hasn't gone. So, I mean, gosh, like, it's hard to believe he's going to go in round 4. I mean, that's a crazy fall.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's,
unbelievable. I mean, wasn't Troy Franklin talked about like as like a possible like late first round pick?
yeah, wide receiver 4 in the class.
That's insane. I just can't believe he's fallen this much. I mean, like, you think that's a guy that could maybe like kind of surprise in the NFL and, you know, be better, or is this like the ultimate indictment? I mean, I'm not really sure what to think of him now.
Normally, it's a really bad sign when someone falls like that. I mean, I like Troy Franklin though, so it depends on his price, where he ends up, and all that stuff.
But gosh, I mean, is it possible you get Troy Franklin in rookie drafts in like the late 3rd, maybe 4th round, something like that? Then I mean, it could be a value maybe.
Yeah, I mean, where did Butte go though? The 5th, 6th in the NFL draft. He was going around the late 3rd, late to mid 3rd somehow last year in a lot of my drafts.
There's no way Troy. I mean, do you think there's a chance Troy Franklin goes? Falls around 5.
No, but he should be going no later than probably like mid 3rd in these drafts. Look, basing it off Butte's fall.
In the NFL draft.
Yeah. Like no, I don't. I mean, I don't know. You're probably going round 4, right? Like,
I would think so.
But
Who
we
knows?
said that about round 3, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny is I was doing. You know anything about Luke McCaffrey there? Early on in the process when Sleeper was adding the rookies, even before they added the rookies, I was looking into Luke McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing on the internet anywhere saying that he declared. Not on Twitter, nowhere. And I was trying to figure out if Luke McCaffrey had declared. I was trying to figure out if he was even like a real person. I don't know if he scrubbed everything off the web of himself. But it's so funny, yeah, seeing Luke McCaffrey is like one of the Sleepers like highest receivers left here. Yeah, he every player they'll say, oh, they declared for the draft.
Mhm.
The sleeper didn't even have him in here for a long time actually, after adding the rookies and all. So I'm interested to see where he goes and what kind of
why did
capital.
that happen? What was the story? What did the story end up being there?
I have no idea. He did declare. Like I thought I saw some really random tweet about Luke McCaffrey saying, whatever the bloodline, NFL teams might want him, and I'm like, well, is he even in the draft? I mean,
Right.
I know nothing about him,
Yeah.
and I think I was digging pretty deep, couldn't find anything on him. Now there's obviously a little bit more on him. He's added a sleeper now, so.
Oh,
That's good. So that's good. But yeah, no, he just wasn't on here at first, and I couldn't find anything on the internet about him at all,
weird.
other than some highlights.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some receivers I like here. Oh yeah, we gotta put Jermaine Burton up here somewhere. We'll put. Okay, where's Burton? I mean, yeah, it's looking pretty decent. This board here. I don't know if you can see it.
No, I don't see it.
Okay. Well, I can share it here. I mean, it's really nuts. Like, I just kind of putting guys around and shuffle them a little bit. It's not really a. It's not a true draft board here, but.
Oh,
This
okay.
is kind of roughly where I have guys put. I mean, I am kind of joking about the Penix at the back, but also I don't know how you really could take him higher than like the late second.
Yeah.
Technically, with Cousins there, who's made out of steel. I mean, he is
Have you put like every fantasy relevant player that's been drafted so far in here, or only the ones you care about?
every single one.
Okay, so you even have like the
Oh.
tight end in there?
I did have Sanat in here, but I gotta put him in here again.
Have any other tight ends been drafted other than Sanat and Bowers?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, look at JT
That means
Sanders.
that means Jadavian Sanders is still on the board then.
Yeah, that's not a good look for him.
Yeah.
Keep my eye on my boy here, Labe. See
Is
where
that
he
kind of
goes.
crazy that only 2 tight ends have been drafted through the first 3 rounds?
Not really. I don't think so. It's not
Really?
I mean, maybe there should be like normally there's like a few random tight ends selected, and like
Even if
maybe
they're like
third.
blocking tight ends or something, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Interested to see where basically all these guys go. Johnny
Yeah.
Wilson, Baker. I thought had a chance to go in the third.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, that's the thing now. If, like, anyone that hasn't been drafted yet, is getting draft capital that you're really not excited about for the
Exactly.
most part.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a running back in the 4th round is still kind of interesting, but,
Yeah.
like, other than that, like, I mean, and maybe tight ends, because, like, I feel like a lot of tight ends, randomly cut them out from, like, later rounds and stuff, but
Yeah.
in terms of, like, wide receivers and quarterbacks, I mean,
no.
it's going to be hard to get too excited about anyone. I mean, of course, like, Puka Nacua last year, but...
Basically just Puka. Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to look at the board. These guys again. I like Javon Baker a lot. Johnny Wilson's like a freak. Let's look at him. I don't really see him being like a fantasy producer, but there's no one like him. So definitely worth noting him. We got some NFL bloodlines here. So,
Right, yeah.
you never know. I don't like Walker seems to be a faller as well.
Oh yeah, Walker. Forgot about him.
Yeah, but all these running backs still have life. Probably 5 of them here.
Yeah, Will Shipley and on up. Yeah, Bucky. Oh yeah, Bucky Irving.
Bucky Irving.
Walker
Yeah,
Estes, Jalen Wright, Braylon Allen. Yeah, some interesting running backs left on the board. So
Yeah.
if
As
some
long
of
as they
those
go in fourth.
round 4, like that would be interesting depending on the landing spot.
yeah. Maybe like 3 of these guys go round 4.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'd
I
like
can
to
see- Maybe like a little like run on running backs in round 4, maybe at some point.
yeah. I'd like to estimate. I'd like him to go to like. Wow, can you imagine if he went to the Cowboys? Like,
Yeah,
what if, can you imagine that? Like, he would be shooting up the board. Like that.
Oh.
Actually, yeah, we still have the Cowboys and Chargers possible landing spots.
Oh, because yeah, neither of them have taken a running back yet.
Yeah, so that you can shoot up the board.
Oh yeah, that's
That's pretty
interesting.
exciting. Yeah, that's pretty exciting for
Oh yeah.
for fantasy. So maybe we could look at. I don't know. Yeah, where did Joe McMillan go?
Buccaneers.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's life there.
Yeah.
Maybe basically like up to the 3-2, you feel decent about a player, and then you kind of get in this handcuffy scenario after the 3-2.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that actually ends up working out pretty well. And you never know. I mean, maybe Javon Baker is one of the first picks, or Troy Franklin or something, and then he kind of slipping in there too.
Yeah, but I mean, I think for the most part, I mean, I think the second round is going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And by the time the draft's over, I mean, I feel like the third round of rookie drafts could be kind of filled out with some, interesting flyers to like roll the dice on. So I feel like things are shaking out pretty well.
Yeah, like better flyers than last year, or probably most years. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Quarterback, nothing interesting there really. Yeah, we never saw a Spencer Rattler day 2 pick, which was kind of hinted at that might happen, but
Oh yeah.
yeah. So Grease Bowl. I'll be excited to see what happens when it falls to me. I might actually, never know. I might be trading up, might be trading out. I'm excited to see how that's tomorrow.
Dude, that just hit me. So our rookie draft and Grease Bowl's tomorrow.
Yeah. So
Holy cow.
got to be ready. I actually don't work tomorrow. I thought I was gonna have to, but I do get the day off. So to prep.
Are we all set for like? Is everyone going to be on a Zoom call and like? How's that working?
I'll probably just end up buying Zoom for like. I'll probably just have to buy Zoom for like the day unless I can find something else. I'll try to find something, but
Okay.
I don't know. If I gotta buy Zoom for a month, I gotta buy it for a month or something.
Okay.
If that's how that works,
Yeah.
so.
But I mean,
Yeah.
everyone has said that like they're going to do it. I mean, I think there was like one person I noticed in the chat that said like they only had one pick or whatever. But I mean, everyone else is planning on doing this, or
Yeah, like Trent's moving into his place, and then also has only like the 409 or something like that. So,
yeah, okay,
and then Eric Easy said he won't be there, but like as long as these guys are picking, and I don't think he really has picks anyways.
Yeah.
As long as people are picking and they're not there, then we'll be all right.
okay. But I mean, so I know things don't always work out perfectly, but I mean, you're tentatively expecting to have like 10 people in the Zoom call.
I mean, I have no idea, but I think we can get probably at least like 6-7 plus people in there. So
Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, that'd be cool.
yeah, I mean, I think like 6-7 people said that they would. So I have no idea though for who who the hell is going to be.
You might want to like put a reminder in the league chat because like even I forgot like holy crap, like the rookie draft's tomorrow, like that kind of just blew my mind, like man, that came up fast.
I will be. Luckily, a lot of the people, I'm looking at the board right now, I think you can see it. A lot of people are the same people at the picks. Like it's quite literally you, Billy, JP, Brown Town said he'd be there, me for the first 2 rounds. I mean, it's like 5 people own the entire first 2 rounds, which is kind of crazy.
As long as most of those people are in the Zoom call, like that's about all we need. I mean, I guess like other players can always try to like trade in or whatever, but
yeah, if they're there. Yeah, like wow, jeez. I mean, I didn't realize how little other people owned picks in here.
Yeah.
Cody has his. RB has a few. Oh yeah, Coda and yeah. I mean, these people said they'd be there, so that's good. If we can't draft like the late 3rd and 4th, it is what it is. I'm not gonna really stress about that. I mean, people can set their boards if they really, really couldn't be there. I mean,
so what's going to happen? Like, we're just going to draft as long as as long as we can, and then is it then going to become a slow draft for the rest of it, or what?
I have no idea. We're gonna just kind of just see what happens. We're gonna try to do it all live, and then.
Yeah, and remind me, how long is the clock going to be? 5 minutes per pick, but pause for trade negotiations.
Yeah, if we're trying to trade something away.
Yeah.
We'll let that kind of play through.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the picks going.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait. I can't believe we have a rookie draft tomorrow. That's crazy. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
And I've never done it like this in like a Zoom call with like, a bunch of guys, and
Yeah.
that should be a blast. So I can't wait for this. And then we're going to be recording it, right? And then like we'll
Yeah.
post it as an episode on the channel here.
Yeah, we'll probably just stream it, honestly, too, and then we
Oh,
can just post it as well.
Yeah, we'll just live stream it, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So that works
Awesome.
out.
Yeah.
yeah.
For anyone that's still actually watching here, first of all, God bless you. Thank you for being here and sticking with us this long. But yeah, definitely tune in tomorrow for this live stream of the rookie draft in Grease Bowl. This is a league that we definitely have talked about a lot on the channel. We definitely have evaluated a lot of trades in that league. It's a really fun league. I just took over the Orphan this year. So really excited for that rookie draft. Tune in. Definitely like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. And anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No. I mean, we're looking forward to tomorrow
Yeah.
night. Probably. I don't know.
Oh yeah. So what time officially is the rookie draft tomorrow?
I thought I was gonna have to work. So like I have like it's like one of my buddies' wedding socials at like 8 Central. I don't know what time the 7th round of the draft starts. I'm gonna be honest. We'll just start it potentially during the 7th round of the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, really, all we need to see anyways is like maybe the 4th and 5th, and
Yeah.
then we can just actively look at like for maybe if we want to take a shot
It's
at late
not going to
4th.
matter that much. I mean, the 6th and 7th round. I mean,
Yeah.
watch that Dynasty Land video. The hit rate's like 1%. So
Yeah.
like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It's literally nothing. So we could start it during the draft. If
Yeah,
we
I mean,
need to.
once the 5th round is over, I think it's like fair game to start the rookie draft. So
Yeah, the earlier the better. I'm just gonna have to gauge if people.
are ready.
Yeah, already.
You might want to give people a heads up on that, because like they might be under the impression that like the draft is just starting at some specific time no matter what, unless
Yeah.
I don't know, unless you said otherwise. So maybe say that like
I said it would be at like 7 Eastern. I think is what I said.
okay.
So whatever that would, I have no idea in the rookie draft.
Well,
what
I mean,
that would be.
it's hard to say, but I mean, I think it starts at noon tomorrow, and they have to get through 4 rounds. So, yeah, I mean, by 7 p.m., so like 7 hours later, I have to think that they're at least through rounds 4 and 5, maybe even through round 6 by that point. So, yeah, that'd be no issue. But you're saying we might start it sooner if like the draft's almost over and it's like maybe 6 o'clock or 6:30.
Yeah, if people, especially the people with the first picks, if Villy and JP can, or even just Villy, but yeah, if Villy and JP can go in Browntown, Coda should be good.
Yeah.
If we can get through those, like the very first 8 picks of the draft, which probably are going to be the longest, and then maybe someone was like lagging behind that has a second rounder or something, then we can start it up. Again, the earlier the better, because I probably I'm in a little bit of a rush tomorrow, but
Yeah. So I'm sorry. What do you have going on at 8 o'clock?
so like my buddy's getting married, and
So wedding.
yeah, it's not a wedding, it's like a social though. Like I don't know if they
Oh.
do that. It's just something they kind of do here. So
Is
like
that
you raise
8
money.
p.m. Central or Eastern?
Central. So
Central. Okay, so 9 p.m. Okay, so yeah, basically you have like 2 hours, but then like what time do you have to leave for that?
yeah, I don't know. There's like
Okay.
it's just like I'm part of the wedding party, so
Why,
I mean
why don't we,
he
why don't
might
we
want
try
me.
to do? Why don't we try to do the rookie draft maybe like closer to like 5 or 6? I mean, would that be better?
Yeah, I just set a window of like 6 to 7. I mean, if we get it started by 7, it should be fine.
Okay.
Because let's do the math here. I mean,
But I mean, I don't see any downside to like starting it at like 5:30 or 6. Do you?
well, just people might be busy. I kind of told them 7. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, whatever works best for everyone.
Okay, Cody says 6 p.m. Yeah, people are saying 6. So if we can start at 6, that'll be
6 Eastern. Yeah, let's do that.
yeah, that'll be more than enough time for me. And then
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to feel like rushed and like
No,
having
no.
to look at your watch and everything like that. Like, we want to be able to enjoy this. I mean, I think this is
Yeah.
going to be a fun thing. So I think six is perfect.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, like worst case, when we get into the 3rd, we could always we can always pause. Like
Yeah.
that's a little less exciting, even though I did want to get those picks done.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is like rounds 1 and 2.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to get through rounds 2, and then I own picks. I mean, you and I own a lot of the second round coda, so it's I don't think it'll be. Yeah, like we can kind of control that, do some negotiating.
Sure.
It'll be all good there. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't realize how many. I want to count out actually how many people own picks in the first 2 rounds here, real quick. I might have to like get a little like chart going for like pre-draft for how many people have picks.
Right.
So, 8 people have picks in the first 2 rounds, more than I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
we'll be back tomorrow. I'll have to figure out the Zoom thing.
Yeah, so 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Tune in for the live Grease Bowl Dynasty Rookie Draft. We're all going to be on a Zoom call, or at least most of the managers. Live trade negotiations. This should be a ton of fun. So I definitely hope people tune into this. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So I hope to see you there.